Grainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, this is Chris Cox, owner of Chimney Solutions, Indiana. We're celebrating our 10th year in business. Call this month to take advantage of 10% off all chimney sweeps and inspections. We're also celebrating the opening of our new fireplace showroom on 86th Street and Lafayette Road. Come and experience our exclusive lines of wood-burning and gas fireplaces.
Call 317-757-6979 or chimneyindy.com.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it this afternoon, 3 o'clock. Guy Relford joins us in studio, the latest on Israel, Iran, and the biggest stories in Indy.
The Attorney General's Unclaimed Property Division has over $800 million just waiting to be claimed. Text Tony Katz to 46220 or visit indianaunclaimed.gov to claim yours today.
Buying a diamond has changed. There are mined and lab-grown diamonds. Pierce Jewelers carries both. Pierce can educate you and save your hard-earned money. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Hammer and Nigel.
Weatherman upset that Trump cutting some funding to the National Weather Service. The war on science. Yeah, tell me more about that science that told me I had to wear a mask made in China that didn't protect me from anything. Tell me about the science of 6 feet apart. Tell me about the science of being in a restaurant. You can sit down and eat with no mask, but you got to stand up and wear a mask. But if you go to Cannes, you got to stand back up and put it on again.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder are tied at 2 games apiece. We'll see what happens in Game 5 tonight, and what will the weather be like? Forecasters talking about rain after Fox News on a Monday morning. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1. Indianapolis, it's cloudy but cool. It's 9 o'clock.
From crawling through crops to walking into court. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Vance Belter will do this afternoon in Minnesota after he was captured last night in a field.
There's no question that this is the largest manhunt in the state's history.
Brooklyn Park Police Chief Mark Bruley. Belter had 4 guns and a list of names when he was found, already charged with murder and attempted murder, accused in Saturday's shootings of 2 state lawmakers and their spouses.
Dressed like a police officer, he wore a Halloween-style mask and drove what looked like a squad car. He went to the homes of 2 powerful Minnesota politicians, shooting them and their spouses, killing 1 couple. The list he had apparently had other names of politicians he may have planned to kill.
Fox's Matt Finn in Brooklyn Park. There's no end to the new conflict in the Middle East.
Israeli fighter jets are currently striking a series of new targets inside Iran.
And Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu just told troops at an airbase after taking out Iran's defenses they now control the skies over Tehran. As Israel also continues to strike missiles and damage Iran's nuclear facilities, aiming to prevent them from building weapons. Fox's Trey Yingst also reports from Tel Aviv.
This follows ballistic missile fire launched by the regime overnight at both central and northern Israel. 8 people were killed in those strikes, 5 impact areas, and significant damage caused to residential blocks.
President Trump says the U.S. is not involved in the Iran-Israel battle, something he'll talk about with other world leaders at a G7 summit today in Canada. Before flying there, he told reporters,
sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
The White House also intends to advance trade and energy talks here. AI and migration are also on the agenda.
That's Fox's Jared Halpert in Calgary. The search continues in West Virginia for several people still missing after heavy rain triggered flash flooding in the Wheeling area, killing 6 others. Days after floods left 13 people dead in San Antonio, Texas area. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The Pacers are 2 wins away from an NBA title. You have a partly cloudy sky, but a clear radar. 69 degrees in downtown Indianapolis, going up to 86 today. I'm Ryan Hedrick, and here's what's trending at 9:02.
Tough losses are a part of a playoff series. If this was easy, I mean, they'd be pulling people off the street to play in the NBA Finals.
Indiana Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle reflecting on the Game 4 loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder on Friday. Now the series is tied at 2 games apiece. Game 5 is tonight.
Haven't given it a lot of thought. It's kind of, for us and for the coaching staff and the players, it's analyzing momentum is not really part and parcel of what's going on like right now. And having to do a better job going and getting the ball off the boards and, and avoiding fouls and things like that.
And the Pacers are 7-3 in road games during this postseason. Tonight's game tips off at 8:30. Could the future of teacher scholarship programs be in question? Johnette Cruz examines that.
A record number of Indiana students are aspiring to become teachers, but they're facing a new hurdle. While the state's Next Generation Hoosier Educators Scholarship Program saw a record of 1,091 applicants this year, which is a 15% increase from last year, the program's funding has been cut in the new state budget. Nearly 300 students still receive scholarships of up to $40,000 for the upcoming academic year. However, the budget reduction from $12 million to $11.4 million raises questions about how many scholarships will be available in the future as the state continues to deal with a teacher shortage. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Depending on where you were at this weekend in the Hoosier State, you got some rain. In the southern half of the state, they got a lot.
The Kokomo area, and especially the south side of Kokomo, had some pretty bad flooding late Friday night into early Saturday. They had some spots that got 4 to 6 inches.
Andrew White at the National Weather Service.
So the big thing is we always tell people, turn around, don't drown. You never really know how deep that water is when you're driving into it, and it can be dangerous.
And he says for this week,
so we're going to start the week in the low to mid 80s. We're going to get to the mid to upper 80s on Tuesday, and then kind of sit back in the low to mid 80s for Wednesday, Thursday.
And you could see some sprinkles today. Students at Vincennes University won't see a tuition hike for the next 2 school years. The school's Board of Trustees voted unanimously to freeze tuition starting this fall. I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. With traffic, here's Matt Baer.
Yeah, Ryan, looking out by the airport's westbound 70 right after you come from 465 on 270. We have a breakdown in the right lane. South side, northbound 65, a little bit slow at South Keystone Avenue into the construction. Traffic sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Matt Baer on the 5s at WIBC Traffic.
Wind and hail can cause serious damage to your property, but not every storm leaves the same mark. At Michaelis Corporation, they offer a free thorough inspection of your entire property, not just your roof. With over 35 years disaster restoration, they check everything from shingles to siding, gutters, windows, and even your interior. Call Michaelis today for your free comprehensive inspection. Don't forget to ask about our impact-resistant shingles for your roof. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. 844-FIX-INDY.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
Now your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Today you might see a quick shower or storm in the afternoon, mainly before 2 and 5. Otherwise, partly sunny, warm, high of about 86. Monday night, a few showers or storms could pop up after 8. It'll be mostly cloudy with lows in the 70s. I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey starts right now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
So, anything fun happened to you this weekend?
Hey, I met one of our listeners Saturday
At a casino.
At a casino.
You got totally big time, didn't? Or you? I mean, you were the bee's knees to this person.
I don't know about that, but I sat down at just a random slot machine and I heard this "excuse me," and I looked up and she said, Casey? And I said, yeah. And she said, from WIBC. And I said, yeah. And she just, was excited to talk. And she mentioned you and Hammer and Nigel and WIBC night and the rally and all sorts of stuff. Very nice person. And it was a delight to meet one of our listeners. I said, well, here you are seeing me in my natural habitat.
Well, I had a wild and wacky weekend.
Yeah,
Case.
you had a crazy weekend as well, huh? Something happened?
So we will. I know many people are tuning in today about the. I did the thing, Casey. In 10 minutes, I did the thing that I have begged countless lawmakers, statewide elected officials to do for months, which is walk up to Diego Morales and have the conversation with him about who paid for India. And I did it in front of a room full of people, and it's ridiculous that I had to give. I mean, when you talk the driving, the event, driving home, I had to give 5 hours of my life to have this conversation when these lawmakers, these statewide elected officials could have this conversation every single day. But as usual, nobody in a position of trust, nobody in a position of authority would step up and do it. So I raised my hand and said, I will do it. And later on in the program, as I'm sure most of our audience knows, it was a little eventful. Diego made me an offer, which I accepted.
Yeah.
We assume, as a man of his word, that offer will still be on the table. We'll see. So we will tell you all about that later on in the program. We've got some wild accusations aside from this involving Diego and the lieutenant governor. I mean, we got so much local stuff to get to today, which we will dive into. However, I think we would be remiss if we didn't start with this just horrible shooting that took place in Minnesota. I'm sure most people are aware, but just in case you're not, 2 Minnesota lawmakers were the victims of assassination attempts. 1 lawmaker was killed, as were their spouse. The other 2, as my understanding, are still alive, though in very serious condition. The shooter, I'm not in the business of saying these guys' names because I don't want to give them publicity. Maybe that will change over time. But the shooter was apprehended late last night.
Yeah. He was apprehended. He was arrested near his farm in Green Isle, Minnesota. He was booked at the Hennepin County Jail around 1 a.m. So if you didn't see the news already, he has been apprehended. He's scheduled for a 1:30 appointment in a Minneapolis courtroom today.
Okay, so keep in mind these things. First of all, there's all sorts of speculation about what this guy did and why. I know they interviewed the friend who looked like a Saturday Night Live sitcom character wearing a not Pizza Hut, what's the Papa John's shirt, and he's saying, oh, he was a Trump fan, he was this, he was that. However, there's other reports that he was appointed by multiple Democrat governors to various boards, commissions, whatever. So there's the No Kings flyers in his car that were allegedly found. Nobody knows anything right now. I mean, it could just be, as with many of these people, the guy was just a lunatic.
Yeah.
It could be. You don't know. And we're in the business of not speculating on these things. We will report the information as it becomes available, I am sure, in the coming days. Here is what is interesting to me, though. Apparently there was a manifesto allegedly that was found, and that has not been released. And that's very interesting to me.
And apparently authorities, they discovered a list as well in his vehicle.
So we will not speculate on who did what, why. I mean, we seem to know who did in the case of the shooting, who the perpetrator was, but we will not speculate as to why. We will let that information come out and then deal with it accordingly, because there appears to be very conflicting information on where this guy was in his life and how he viewed the world. And the other part of this, though, that has to be said is violence is never okay towards people because you disagree with them politically. And we are, and I think because of the world, and we've talked about this before, the world we live in, where people believe, because of social media, et cetera, that I can say something and my voice gets amplified because it's on the internet where anybody could see it. Anybody could. 20, 30 years ago, unless you were in the press or you were a politician, you didn't have the ability to be amplified into the ether. And how many people what do they call the viral moments, right? Where people, some obscure person put something out, and now all of a sudden in their mind, they're famous on the internet for a day or 2 days or whatever. And I think that has elevated in the political realm, the rage that people have where they're continuously trying to top the next person or top the next thing, and then people consume this information. And it is very easy, especially people who may not be playing with a full deck of cards, to lose themselves in that moment and act in a manner that is completely and totally unacceptable.
So he does face 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and I think we should mention the victims. Minnesota State Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband, they were both fatally shot. And State Senator John Hoffman and his wife were also targeted. Hoffman was wounded. They were in surgery a good portion of the day yesterday and put out a statement saying that they were lucky to be alive. And you're right, Rob, there's no room, no matter how much you disagree with the politicians and no matter how much you think they're not doing good for you, there's no place to be a vigilante.
Yeah, and it comes back to, again, so these 2 senators allegedly had voted against a bill that would voted to deny health benefits to illegal immigrants. And initially people came out and said, well, he came from for that. And he was on these boards as these boards appointed by Democrat governors. Clearly, he was some radical leftist. And then the goofy friend is like, no, he was a huge Trump supporter. You don't know. There appear to be things that are in direct contrast with each other. So, and this is not. It's one of the things that is not good about the instant information societies. Everybody's trying to be first. Everybody's trying to get their thing retweeted or shared or whatever. Just let the facts play out. It's all going to come out on who this guy was. He's alive for now. You hope they protect him to the point where they can get the story, get the facts, allow him to go to trial, be held accountable for the crimes that he's alleged to have committed. And
get to the truth.
And get to the truth. Yes, thank you. So, again, we just wanted to, when these stories like this happen, it's so easy on our side of things to be, hey, we got to have a take on this. We got to have some hot take about whatever. You don't. Our job is also to be responsible with information that we give to you. And there is just not enough information right now.
Well, there's so much information right now. And
Verified information.
Exactly, verified. You don't know what's real, what's true, what's not.
Yeah, so it will come out. And when we have that information, then we'll have probably more on it. But right now, that is where we stand. The alleged gunman is in custody, and he will have a court hearing today, correct?
Yes, 1:30 today.
Very good.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
Disaster in India. Plane went down in flames.
One part of the plane seems to be intact.
Don't know yet the fate of all the passengers and crew.
Hear the news.
Taking a 2-1 lead in the NBA Finals. Game 4 is Friday night at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
As events happen,
actions of Hogsett's former deputy mayor
we'll happen to be there.
HR recommendation that he should have been fired.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. You can say goodbye to cracked, stained, and dirty old floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out the color. Upgrade your home today by calling Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. And they come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. The phone number, 877-417-0635. You can find them online, too. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com.
Hello, my name is Nate Clancy. I'm with Labor's Local 120. I've been with Labor's Local 120 for over 40 years now.
For members of Labor's International Union of North America, giving back is part of their commitment to the Indy community, like helping the Soapbox Derby.
We painted the bridge. The Wilkershaw Bridge is an iconic bridge for the Soapbox Derby. It's been there forever. It was, needing work.
When Indy or surrounding communities need help, LiUNA steps up.
Members that went over there, we seen that it was needing work, power washed, done the painting, just anything that was needed, and it looks amazing now.
This is Chris Brickey, business manager of Labor's Local 120. While all our members are skilled, highly trained men and women, we are also your friends, neighbors, Little League coaches, and volunteers here in Indy.
Here at the local, I like volunteering in the community. Just every little bit helps. I really got a real joy in doing that.
We build Indy for good jobs and stronger communities. We are LiUNA Local 120.
Pat Sullivan here with exciting news from my friends at Hope Plumbing, now known as Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hope now offers plumbing, heating, and air conditioning services, bringing total comfort to your home. No more dealing with multiple home service memberships. For only $8 a month, Hope is now your one-stop for safety and maintenance inspections and so much more. Make sure you're prepared for those Indiana summer heat waves with an AC tune-up by calling Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 641-HOPE.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $434 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Advent, nasal congestion and sinus infections can be solved with an in-office 20-minute procedure. Elsewhere, expect surgery.
Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's family-owned jewelry store, is dedicated to quality and fine craftsmanship. Let them help you celebrate that special moment in your life. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today. Today.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we got a ton of really interesting local stuff to get to today. I know many people are tuning in. We will totally do a deep dive on my interaction with Diego Morales over the weekend. And we got to get to these allegations from Indy Reporter about who Diego and Micah were going to the Pacers game with. Mm-hmm. I mean, the story is crazy. Apparently, Micah's issued a statement on that to WIBC's newsroom. We'll get to all that, but before that, thankfully, thankfully it appears everybody got out okay this weekend in the city of Indianapolis as it relates to those protesters that were here.
Yeah, the No Kings protests that were held at the Indiana State House over the weekend. It's being reported that around 3,000 Hoosiers, despite heavy rain, showed up. And they put their emphasis on nonviolence, and organizers even distributed whistles to alert security of any trouble.
And like I said, by all accounts, this was actually legitimately a mostly peaceful protest. It did not in any way mirror what we saw in 2020. I think a big portion of that was that it was done by daylight. And those people, look, as goofy as it may be or whatever they're trying to do, as long as you behave yourself and you're not impeding traffic or you're, not causing harm to anyone else. I don't think anybody's got any problem with that. You want to march on a sidewalk? Have at it. You want to go in a state house and mind your P's and Q's and have your voice heard as long as you're allowed to be there? Have at it. What is not acceptable is when you're blocking traffic, when you're walking, like in some of these cities. I mean, what is Seattle? They tried taking over one of the government buildings. Mm-hmm. That stuff is totally unacceptable. Violence of any kind is obviously unacceptable. But thankfully here in the city of Indianapolis, these people were reasonably well behaved. Now, what I don't understand, I still don't understand, other than I hate Trump, was this just another I hate Trump protest? What were they protesting this time?
They were chanting about democracy. They were displaying homemade signs. They marched around the State House. It was also an anti-ICE raid.
No KKK, no fascist USA. No ICE, no KKK, no fascist.
Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like.
Boy, I bet those people are a blast to hang out with at parties. Can you imagine any sort of social engagement with those people? Okay, so they're mad about ICE.
They were voicing concerns about due process and dignity, emphasized hope and solidarity, and they called on the attendees to vote and reclaim democracy.
So they don't believe the 2024 election was legitimate? I mean, no kings, right? That's what they say, no kings. What is Trump doing that's any different than Biden did? And unless they're saying Trump wasn't legally elected, like what are they? Here's an idea. Why don't you nominate some candidates who have some ideas that resonate with the majority of people? Like that's how elections are won, right? Nobody thinks that the Democrats didn't have enough money and that's why they lost. This wasn't some, establishment versus underfunded David Goliath thing. It was two parties, both spending $1 gajillion, both having their own uber rich financiers on both sides of the aisle. Everybody was competing in all the states. Everybody was on the ballot. And clearly, as it relates to the presidency, And what doesn't make sense, and I would love to ask these people, of course, that would involve having a conversation with them, which, no, not for any amount of money in the world. But there were many states where Trump won and the Democrat senator won, a place like Nevada or what it was Michigan, I think was one of them. There were multiple states where Trump wins the state and the Democrat wins. Wisconsin is one of them. I think Wisconsin was who I was thinking of. So it's not in either, so what? It's only a king if it's Trump, if it's the Democrat senator, the people who split their ticket. Maybe people were just sick of Biden's crap. Did you ever think of that? That maybe people were just sick of Biden's crap?
Well, there were a lot of comparisons of Trump's immigration policies to the Gestapo. They're saying that he has weaponized the military against people and democracy. And of course, Donald Trump put out a note saying a huge thank you to all the No Kings protesters. I was very concerned a king was trying to take my place. But thanks to your tireless efforts, I am still your president.
Okay, so I got to give
Great
you
job,
the full disclosure. I had a million things going on this weekend. I did not watch any of the military parade. Did you watch any of it?
I really didn't see a whole lot of it. I mean, I saw clips of it on the internet. And I saw people questioning how a lot of the military was marching, like that was a big issue for a lot of people. And then, of course, there were different reports. Some people saying nobody showed up. Other people saying it was a ton of people were there.
Okay, but I guess I'm coming back to it was an uneventful waste of $45 million. I mean, there was no earth-shattering thing that took place. And then you have to ask yourself, well, what was the point of it, especially when you have no money? I think that is the question I keep coming back to is how can we say we're serious about getting our spending under control when we keep spending money frivolously on stuff like this? It's not frivolous if you have the money, right? But if you or I, it's no different than in your life and the life compared to your neighbors. Sometimes your neighbors just have more money than you, and they can buy a nicer car. They can buy a boat. They can put a swimming pool in the backyard. They have the money to be able to buy those luxury items. In the case of the United States of America, we don't have any money. We're $37 trillion in debt. So anytime I hear, and I get in the term of trillions, that millions are small, but they all add up, $45 million, what did we as taxpayers get out of that? I think we've moved past, let's just do it because it's fun or a nice little light show. I think at this point we got to be smarter with our money when we have no money.
I think the timing of it was bad, really bad, especially with everything that's going on between Iran and Israel, unless this was Donald Trump's way of showing our military might. So we're celebrating weapons.
And somebody said this in the YouTube chat, and they're right, that they get that Trump is trying to be patriotic. He's trying to put America first. He's trying to put America. I get all of that. I get all of that. But there are a million different ways you could do that without spending $45 million. Also, we talk about this all the time on the show. And so many people and there's people locally, including some we're about to talk about, who don't get that governing is a lot different than campaigning. And there are some people, and I think Trump is one of them, that never leaves the campaign mode. And governing, part of governing is you got to know, what the old song, you got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to turn and run, when to walk away, right? You got to know when to do that. And in the case of Trump, this parade thing egged on all this stuff all over the country. What did you really get for it? Oh, and on top of that, you spent $45 million we don't have. When a simple, hey, God bless the Army, God bless our men and women, he could have held, an event, a press conference or whatever. I don't think this was a good use of our funds if we're going to be consistent about trying to get our country back on some level of fiscal sanity. All of these little things add up and become big things, and it makes a difference in how we run our society and how we afford stuff.
Yeah, I think one thing that was interesting is, everybody's saying, oh, this looks like something that we grew up seeing in the 80s with Russia or some of these other military powers, right? France does this every single year.
Yeah, and look, I'm not paying taxes to France, and I didn't trying to be polite in saying this. I don't give two whats about if France can afford food or not. I'm not a citizen of France. I am a citizen of this country, and we are spending money so irresponsibly, and stuff like this is just another thing to throw into the kitty. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, let's get into this just incredible report that came out from the Indy Reporter. They have this just amazing thing about who the lieutenant governor and the secretary of state are allegedly palling around with now, and who they went to the Pacers game with. And the Indy Reporter was busy this weekend. Let's talk about it when we come back.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
There's something timeless about radio. It's where stories are told, ideas are shared, and communities stay connected. Our generation grew up with it, and we still believe in the power of tuning in. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe planning for retirement should feel just as familiar and trusted. That's why we're bringing real conversations and practical advice to the airwaves. Join us every Sunday at 9 p.m. for our Retire with Purpose Radio Hour, right here on 93.1 WIBC. We'll talk about what really matters in retirement, income you can count on, choices you can feel good about, and a future that reflects your values. Because some things, like good planning and good radio, never go out of style. Howard Bailey Financial, retirement planning that speaks your language. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com. The Retire with Purpose Radio Hour is a paid placement on each airing station. 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Police say the killer is in custody. Partly cloudy sky, but a clear radar. It's 69 degrees in downtown Indianapolis, going up to 86 today. I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending at 9:30. The man who police say assassinated a state representative from Minnesota was arrested late last night.
Officers in Minnesota now have the man they say assassinated State House of Representatives Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband at their Brooklyn Park home. He is 57-year-old Vance Belter.
That's 48 hours that law enforcement involved in a complex and dangerous manhunt.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Belter is also accused of shooting and injuring State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette at their residence. It is believed the attacks were politically motivated. Belter was seen on security cameras at one of the homes dressed as a police officer and wearing a Halloween-style character mask.
That's Fox's Eben Brown reporting. A shooting at a block party early Sunday morning in Elkhart injured 12 people and killed a man.
A shots fired call did come out. We did locate injured people. We rendered aid to who we could, who was there.
That's Elkhart Police Captain Travis Hamlin speaking at a news conference on Sunday. The man who was killed was not identified, but the mayor says that he was a father. He was killed on Father's Day. You're paying an average of $3.17 for a gallon of gas, up 17 cents from this time last week. And your opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. All three major indices up this morning. The Dow is up 244 to 42,197.79. The S&P up 38 3/4 to 5979.57, and the Nasdaq up 178 to 21,631.04. I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PRIDE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PRIDE to 42424. That's PRIDE to 42424.
911, what's your emergency?
In an emergency, voice is best. But what if you can't call?
Escalated domestic disturbance reported east of downtown. Be advised, alert was received by a 911 emergency text. Caller is hiding in a closet and can't use her voice.
When the situation is too dangerous to make a call, text to 911 Capability Now helps Hoosiers. But in most emergencies, voice is still best.
My sister's not breathing. Please hurry.
In the last 5 years, Hoosiers have used text capability in over 1 million 911 sessions. It's of great help to the deaf and speech impaired and to those in select dangerous situations. Thanks to the statewide 911 board, Indiana leads the nation with all 92 counties having in- and outbound text capability. For more, visit in911.net.
It's good to hear your voice. Help is on the way.
911. Before you text, voice is best.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Look, I got to tell you, I thought my interaction with Diego Morales at the Clay County Lincoln Day was going to be the most wild thing we had to talk about on the show today. But then
somebody said, "Hold my beer."
The Indy Reporter account went crazy over the weekend and put out this multiple bombshell reports about who the lieutenant governor and secretary of state allegedly went to this Pacers game on, whether that had been Wednesday night with. Now, many people remember we didn't talk about it on the show because it came off as like a cry for attention. And we just said we're not doing that with the lieutenant governor anymore because that's what he wants. He's not interested in governing. He just wants attention. That he posted this photo of him and Diego Morales together.
Yeah.
And it really appeared to come off as this giant middle finger, of course, to me, but to all the people who supported Micah, who have been saying, hey, we really have some red flags about what's going on with our Secretary of State and this foreign trip. Can you please lead, as one of the most powerful people in the state, can you please lead and get to the bottom of what's going on? And we've caught him now in multiple, lie is such a strong word, right? Untruths about him holding him accountable or saying he would call him out in public and not doing it and all of that other stuff. And then he posts this photo of them together at this Pacers game.
It came from the Secretary of State's official account.
That's right. Micah didn't post it. Diego was the original poster of
and it was the both of them. Excited to be at Pacers Game 3 in Indy with my good friend, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. Let's get that win.
Yeah, and this is not some professional, hey, I see you in public, we shake hands, we're courteous. This is two guys chumming it up together, which means Micah consented to the photo, which means everybody looks at that photo and goes, well, that's bullcrap, what you told thousands and thousands of people in terms of your concern about his foreign trips or whatever, right? I mean, so let's just cut the crap at this point.
He is a grown man. He's allowed to set boundaries. If he didn't want to be in the picture, he could have said no thanks, or we'll do it next time. Whatever excuse he needed to do, he didn't have to be in the picture.
So then the follow-up to this was many people started saying, okay, how did he get tickets to that game? Who did he go with? They're clearly there together in some capacity. How did these two guys organize this little rendezvous?
Was that coincidence? They just happened to be there at the same time.
Right, and these are all very valid concerns. And look, Capitol Chronicle has done articles on this about these lawmakers accepting these gifts and the amount of the gifts. And, very few people want something for nothing, right? They give you something, they want nothing in return. So what's going on here? And look, I've been saying this for several weeks now. The Indy Reporter Twitter account, I think, may be the most interesting thing going on in Indiana politics and government right now. Yeah. We've had Stephen, one of the guys over there. There's several people who run that account. Indy_reporter_. If you want to follow them, we strongly suggest that. They are the research they're doing. I don't know how much free time they have to pull all this off, but it's fascinating. They started digging into this about, let's find out how these two guys got together at this Pacers game and what was going on. And they then put out that it appeared that the tickets came from a guy by the name of Michael Sherfick. And when they started looking into Michael Sherfick, it was believed that this was the same guy who had ended up getting a 14-month prison sentence over conspiracy to commit bribery back when he believed he was the Perry Township constable.
Back in 2010.
And so, they put up, I think it was on Friday night, they put something out about it. And you're looking at this going, this cannot be right. Now with Diego, all bets are off, right? There's no way Micah is going to be running around with a guy who is pled guilty to this very serious offense. It relates to government corruption, bribery. Mm-hmm. There's no way he would be doing this, or his staff would let him do this. Somebody who's researching who this guy is would step in and say, wait, dude, you can't. I know, going to Pacers finals game is awesome, but you can't do this. And so the Indy Reporter guys kept digging into this, and then last night put out this absolutely incredible follow-up tweet about what actually went down and what actually was alleged to have taken place.
Yeah, so allegedly, Michael Sherfick, I guess it's not allegedly at this point, he pled guilty with conspiracy to commit bribery concerning programs receiving federal funds. He spent 14 months in jail, 3 years of supervised release, and he had a $35,750 fine.
And then there are some other issues. If you look into his record, which is publicly available, after that guilty plea that show up that are concerning to people. And one of the things that I think is very, very concerning for people is that you have somebody who said that they committed this offense, mm-hmm. and now you have two very high-profile people in our state, the Secretary of State and the Lieutenant Governor, accepting gifts, seemingly, allegedly, from this person. I think that's a giant red flag, especially given the scrutiny that Diego currently finds himself under regarding this India trip and a lack of transparency on it.
Yeah. So Micah and Diego, they went to the Pacers game on Wednesday, and then according to Indy Reporter, apparently this Sherfick person donated money to Diego's account last year and has not donated any money to Micah Beckwith.
So Micah issued this statement. Ryan Hedrick from the WIBC newsroom reached out to him because what we said is, look, there's only two options here. Either the lieutenant governor is willfully consorting with the person who committed a very serious offense related to government integrity. That's the thing, right? This is a very serious offense that this person acknowledged that he did related to government integrity, and he did it knowingly. Or his vetting process. And it doesn't mean people can't be redeemed, Casey. It doesn't mean people can't change their ways. America's littered with success stories. However, perception is reality, right? And when you are hanging out with someone who in a high-profile manner admitted they did this thing, and you're associating with the guy who is under serious scrutiny right now involving a mysterious trip to a foreign country where he will not state who he did or what he did, that is going to be of huge concern to the public. And we'll get back to the Indy Reporter report. And by the way, again, those guys, I'll tell you what, they are on all sorts of levels with state government right now doing incredible work. So here's what Ryan Hedrick reached out from the WIBC newsroom to Micah. He said, I'm reaching out to you in my official capacity. Do you have a statement? Would you like to read the statement that Micah responded with?
Sure. This went to the WIBC newsroom from the Lieutenant Governor, Micah Beckwith. I didn't know anything about this man's criminal background. I was surprised when I heard that because of the couple interactions I have had with him at a few political events have all been very positive. Outside of being invited to the game, I've never received anything from him, nor have I hung out with him in any other capacity. I live my life where I genuinely try to believe the best about people until they prove me wrong. But I hope his struggles of the past are truly behind him, and his testimony will be one of redemption moving forward.
Okay, so that seems to put Micah in the first camp, which means the lieutenant governor, the second most powerful person in the state, is accepting gifts and hanging out with people that he has no idea who they are or what their background is.
You'd think there would be a pretty thorough vetting process.
How could his chief of staff... He has a data guy who sits there and does I don't know what. I assume he's looking into people. What is he doing all day? That is unbelievable for Micah to basically admit, yeah, I just went and hung out with this guy to pay. You're not some townie, Micah. You're the lieutenant governor. Now, the Indy Reporter report gets more concerning, though, because they are making the allegation in this report, and again, you can go see it for yourself. The account is at Indy_reporter_, that the individual who they went to the game with is the owner of multiple properties, and the Indy Reporter account claims that through multiple verifications that one of these properties is hosting like a variety of sex-related events, shows, whatever, including they claim swinger events, drag shows, etc.
Et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, I'm not going to read you can read the report for yourself. And again, Indy Reporter, it appears, went to a great length to cite the sources, the real estate, all of these things. Doesn't make it 100% accurate? No. Perhaps somebody will weigh in on this and to get it. We're going off of the report just as we would any other organization with cited sources on what that's saying. And if that's true for Micah, he's going to have to explain that because, again, you have the lieutenant governor who's admitting in this message to Ryan Hedrick, there's just no vetting system. And this guy may have totally turned his life around. Maybe he's 100% in the clear. Maybe he's a great guy, but he wasn't hanging out with him at church. He wasn't pastoring to him. He was going to an event, accepting a gift to an NBA Finals game. So I think we need a lot more answers on this, and I can't, again, state this enough. The work that, like what the Indiana Capital Chronicle is not related to this story, but this Indy Reporter account are doing, there's a new media going on in this city on how things are getting covered, and these sort of organizations are breaking stories that people need to know about. People have the right to have information about, and now we've got to understand how the lieutenant governor is vetting who he's having meetings with. I think we know with Diego that it's what it is, but that's very, very concerning. So that's the story. That's the news.
It is Kendall and Casey. You're listening to 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it this afternoon, 3 o'clock. Guy Relford joins us in studio. The latest on Israel, Iran, and the biggest stories in Indy.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Summer is here and it's time to think about cleaning your carpets, but don't even think about renting one of those DIY units at the grocery store. Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $129 and $75 off air duct cleaning. That's the perfect way to refresh your home. Vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet. And please don't do it yourself with DIY, dirt-attracting, carpet-soaking machines. With those machines, there's no possible way to extract all of that dirty water out of the carpet, and it'll probably leave a nice layer of mud under the carpet. At Zero Res, there's a reason they have 4,900 plus 5-star Google reviews. So just call Zero Res with their patented ZR water that cleans with no soaps, no residue, and no harsh chemicals. Just fresher carpets and cleaner air for your family. Call now, mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $129 plus $75 off the air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141 or ZeroResIndy.com.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. That's 800-659-7540.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You support them. Who supports you? Matt Baer and Ryan Hetrick provide insight, encouragement, and resources to help you navigate a loved one's recovery on the Supporting Sobriety podcast. Listen and get support wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you enjoy yesterday? Did you get what you wanted? And that was just to be left alone and watch golf.
No, I mean, yesterday the U.S. Open was fabulous. The Sunday at the U.S. Open is always phenomenal, which it's always on Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was right when they were gearing up for the back nine, which is the
exciting part.
Right, they had this massive weather delay.
Yeah,
and so basically, it was like 2.5 hours. My favorite part were all the memes, because what they did was they showed during the weather delay the 2008 U.S. Open where Tiger Woods on a broken leg wins the U.S. Open, and the memes of people saying there's a bunch of dads who woke up from their nap. They're seeing Tiger Woods win the U.S. Open. I was like, how long have I been asleep? So I then didn't have an excuse to be left alone for like 2.5 hours. I had to do like actual parenting and cleaning, and then sort of unfairly, then you have to reestablish my only goal today was to be left alone. So I had to reestablish those boundaries once the goal,
once they were broken.
Again.
So our governor put out a Father's Day greeting. He said, "Happy Father's Day to all the dads making a difference every day. Being a father to my children has been the greatest gift and blessing of my life. Wishing all Hoosier dads a day filled with love and family." And then it's a picture with his family and the grandkids are there. It's a lovely post, great sentiment. But then you go to the comments.
Now, no doubt it was just people responding, going, "Happy Father's Day, Governor. Thanks for the great job you're doing. We appreciate you leading our great state." Something of that manner.
No. You want me to read the top 3?
Can you? Are we allowed to use this?
We'll retain our license if I do.
Okay, very good.
First comment. "Yeah, but property taxes." The second comment. "Would be nice if they didn't have to work so hard to keep their homes. You lied. No one trusts what you say." Next comment. "Would be nice if us fathers could afford our homes with the property taxes. But you took care of that, didn't you?"
We've talked about this before, about how funny this is, that this guy can't even make a simple, "Hey, I'm here to present the state championship trophy to so-and-so women's basketball team." And it's just, "I hope you eat crap and die."
Property tax. I mean, I could keep going. Another comment. "It would be better had you kept your promise and lowered my property taxes. Would be nice if all fathers had lower property taxes and not be scammed by you. Would be a nice Father's Day if you helped Indiana dads by cutting property taxes and spending like you promised." You have to go down to like the 9th comment before you get a "Happy Father's Day, Governor."
I've asked several people this, and I can't get a clear answer. Does Braun know how much the public hates him, or has he insulated? Because think about that was normally the attention span of the public is about 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
We are 2 months on from when he screwed everybody on property taxes, and it's still just fervent rage from people. Is Braun, this is what I want to know, is Braun aware of how much the public at large despises him, or have they insulated him to the point where the only people he sees and engages with are the butt sniffers that he meets at his canned, orchestrated
The
events?
yes men?
Yeah, does he know?
I think that he's insulated because, he's putting it out there that he might potentially run for president.
That's a great point. That's a great point. If you knew how much the public in your own state hates you, although Pence was the same way. I mean, Pence was plotting to run for president from the time he became governor.
And thought nobody could do it better than him.
I mean, it is. I've said this many, many years. There is a certain level of narcissism, which is very high, actually, to think in a state, in this case of 7 million people, you can do a job, whatever the job is, better than anybody else. Then amplify that when you're talking about president of the United States in a country of 340 million people, or whatever the number is now. Do you think you can do that job better than anybody else? And Braun is just the narcissist for both of those jobs, Casey.
I want to go out with just my favorite comment. "Beautiful family. I have one too, but struggle to provide for them given the out-of-control property taxes, gas taxes, local taxes, and on and on and on. Hope you don't lie to your family like you did to all of us."
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about my rather fascinating interaction with Diego Morales over the weekend.
It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating. Family owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Are you dealing with foot, knee, hip, or back pain? Well, it sounds like you could use a spring in your step. Hi, this is Phoebe with the Good Feet store, and I've got just the thing to help you spring forward into comfort. Good Feet's unique patented 3-step arch support system is designed to reduce pressure on your joints to keep you feeling energized all day long, even when you're running on an hour's less sleep. With less pressure on your joints, you'll also experience less pain and discomfort too. When you visit the Good Feet store, we'll take time with you to figure out what you need on your free personalized fitting. You can also take all the time you need to walk in-store to feel the Good Feet difference personalized for your feet, your shoes, and your lifestyle. Most of our customers say they feel relief immediately, and you can too. Make your appointment today at goodfeet.com. Don't just live with the pain. Discover your options and spring into comfort at the Good Feet store. Come in today for your free personalized fitting and test walk. We're in your neighborhood. Visit goodfeet.com to find the location nearest to you.
This is Pastor Nathan from Life Church. Let's remember Juneteenth, a delayed freedom, but undeniable triumph. On June 19, 1865, news finally reached Galveston. The enslaved were free. Today we remember all men are created equal, and we strive towards liberty and justice for all. As believers, we know that true freedom comes from Christ, who breaks chains and heals hearts. Let us walk in that light, committed to justice, freedom, and love.
Hey, this is Denny Smith for LD Smith Plumbing. Lance Smith joins me right now. No, we're not related, but I'd be proud to call him my son, my uncle, my cousin, whatever. Lance, welcome to the studio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, sump pumps, they're coming up. You guys, it's probably time to get your sump pump special. You brag on this every year.
Yep, it's a real deal. Free primary sump pump with the purchase of a battery backup system. Simple as that. No hidden labor fees or anything like that. 317-927-7186 or ldsmithplumbing.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP 105-195. Nautilus MSRP 60-195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, where the feds said they've made an arrest this morning in Indiana, plus what the weather looks like for you this week. Those stories and much more headed your way after Fox News Radio. You are listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
A new threat from Iran. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Its president says if the U.S. does not restrain Israel, they'll be forced to respond more severely. They've already counterattacked.
When the missiles arrived, we were in the staircase in the building.
He's in Tel Aviv at one of the sites hit by Iranian missiles that got through the Iron Dome defense.
To see an explosion right in front of my face and my other face, crazy.
At least 8 people were killed in those Iranian attacks.
We in Israel are bombarded day in, day out by Iranian missiles, and before that by Houthi Yemenite missiles, and before that with Hezbollah missiles, and before that Hamas missiles. It's all started in Tehran.
They've taken out air defense, knocked out a third of Iran's missile launchers.
It should be top priority on 2 things. No way Iran going nuclear. Secondly, bring back our hostages as soon as possible.
That is Israeli President Isaac Herzog talking to Fox, saying they continue to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities to prevent them from building weapons. And Herzog wants world leaders at the G7 summit starting today in Canada, including President Trump, to address those issues. Now, he mentioned Hamas. It still holds a dozen hostages captive, or more than dozens, in Gaza, where food distribution sites for Palestinian residents were targeted again. Shootings nearby killed at least 34 people. Vance Belter has a hearing today in Minnesota after he was captured last night crawling in a field. He's charged with murder an attempted murder in the shootings that killed State Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, and badly injured State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette.
Investigators recovered multiple guns and a list of other targets, along with some sort of manifesto, we're told. Belter is due in court and being held on $5 million cash bond.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Meanwhile, 2 escaped prisoners in Louisiana have been on the run for a month now. Antoine Massey and Derek Groves, the last of the 10 inmates, still free after a New Orleans jailbreak May 16th. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Federal agents have made an arrest. It's cloudy and 71 in downtown Indy. All clear on your radar right now. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The FBI says their agents took David Finkel into custody this morning on a federal arrest warrant. They didn't release what charges he's facing, saying the investigation is still active. Finkel had served as vice president of the Shelbyville Central Schools Board and was also known for his work with the Strand Theater. You might be seeing rain again today.
So today's rain chances are mainly going to be in the Indy area and point south. We've got a 30 to 40% chance of rain today.
Andrew White with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says severe weather is also possible both Wednesday and Thursday of this week. The state says it's investing in future educators. Johnette Cruz reports.
Nearly 300 students across Indiana are receiving a major boost to pursue careers in teaching. The state has awarded 295 next-generation Hoosier educators scholarships for the upcoming academic year. Each recipient will get up to $40,000 for their education. In return, they commit to teaching in an Indiana school for 5 years after graduation. The program aims to combat the state's teacher shortage and saw a record number of applicants this year, despite a recent reduction in state funding for the scholarships. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
$3.14 a gallon is the statewide average for gas today, says Gas Buddy. That's up 23 cents from this time last week. Losing Game 4 of the NBA Finals was tough for the Indiana Pacers on Friday night, but Pacer head coach Rick Carlisle said Sunday that if you're blaming official Scott Foster for the mess, that's not right.
Scrutiny that's being thrown out there is terrible and unfair and unjust and stupid.
Pacers try to bounce back in Game 5 of the NBA Finals tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tip-off at 8:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. I'm John Herrick on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. 10:04, Kendall and Casey coming back in 1 minute.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling. BOOHER. BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. BOOHER. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Pierce Jewelers in Carmel, designers of fine custom jewelry.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
So I did the thing.
I know, and I got to tell you, I'm a little bummed at you because you didn't remind me of this on Friday when we were together. You just went and did it.
Well, you know me, I'm never one to hog the spotlight.
Right. I mean, you talked about it earlier in the week and the week before, but the day of the event, you didn't mention it.
No, I'm not the type of person who wants to draw attention to myself. I just quietly go about my business.
Yeah, and that's what you did. You quietly, or maybe not so quietly, went about your business.
And this is what's so darn frustrating to so many people in our society, that the radio guy has to give up 5 hours of his Friday night. And God bless my parents, by the way. Babysitters are us. And I'm fortunate that I have the ability and freedom and parents who are involved, who are willing to step up because they believe as strongly in this stuff as I do, that my wife and I had to give up 5 hours of our Friday
to do a thing that we have been begging well over 100 lawmakers and statewide elected officials to do for months, when they can do it any day, every day, at zero time, inconvenience, whatever.
Right, cross the hallway.
Right. So went to the Clay County Lincoln Day. Clay County, if you get on 40 and you head west as you're going to Terre Haute, you're going to run right into it. And was the very special guest of Jody and Andy Lorman. They run the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, fine sponsor of State House happenings. Jody, I believe, is the vice chair of the Clay County Lincoln Day party, two of the greatest Hoosiers who have ever lived. And they invited me to the Clay County Lincoln Day.
Did they know?
I don't know.
Inviting you?
I don't know. I don't.
What you had planned?
I don't ask questions.
Okay.
I just if I'm asked to show up and I can do it, I show up. And I had said on the air, I said, I've got a ticket. I'm coming. Diego, if you got the guts to show up, I'm going to ask you the thing that I've been begging people like Micah Beckwith and Todd Rokita and Mike Braun and the Indiana General Assembly. All of these people who actually have power. See, I have no power. I just have a drive for getting information, for being transparent with the public about what's going on. And I said, I'm going to go, and I'm going to ask you directly in front of a room full of people, because I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. Who paid for your trip to India? And he showed up, and we had ourselves in front of a room full of people, a little bit of a spirited back and forth.
Okay, so you got there, and Todd Young spoke.
Spendenberg was the guest speaker. Here's the thing I'll say about Spendenberg. When he just talks about the military, he's mildly likable.
Yeah.
Now
he did a good job.
Well, he was talking mostly about the military. That's his wheelhouse. Then you got to remind yourself, it's
his nickname is Spendenberg.
He did not talk about the spending, which is why you dislike the guy. And by the way, I do want to apologize. At the end of the event, people were coming up to me. We were talking, and Todd did try to say something nice to me.
He tried to engage with you?
And I didn't know who it was, and so he tapped me on the shoulder, and I blew him off, and my wife is like, Rob, Todd Young's trying to get I was like, what? And there he was, and I said, oh, hi, Todd. Nice speech. And afterwards, Gabrielle's like, you blew off Todd Young.
You blew off a senator.
I said, well, I'm more important than he is.
That's true.
I said, I'm not more powerful, but I'm more important. Anyway, Spendenberg, see, I was saying something nice about Todd Young.
Look at that.
And he looked so thrilled, Casey, that I was up somebody else's backside for once.
He was glad
other than
he
his.
was there to talk to
He
him.
was just like sitting in the corner like, oh, thank goodness.
It's
Finally.
interesting, though, he approached you.
Yeah, he was very nice, and it was like this was not some, meet and greet. It was just very quick. I said that was a nice speech, which it was, because he didn't talk about the spending. And
well, the military, that's his wheelhouse.
It is.
He's got experience in that.
So we get there. Diego's got the signs out, but I can't find him. Like I don't see him in the building. And I'm asking people, and they're like, no, we don't see him here. I was like, oh, shoot, he probably knew I was coming, and he chickened out. Now I'm gonna have to go start something with Rokita to get some show content for Monday. And then I don't know, a few minutes before the thing started, he shows up. Well, I'm already like at my table at that point. I'm talking to the...
So like a rubber chicken dinner?
Yeah, if you've never been to one of these events, there's tables set up, and you get assigned a table, and you sit with people, and you mingle with them, and you eat, and then the elected officials get up and speak, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm already at the table when he walks in. I can't just like stand up and, make some sort of beeline over there.
Did you know the people at your table?
I knew them very loosely. I knew them several years ago. We had a very brief interaction.
And when you sat down, did they like smile or did they roll their eyes?
Well, there were two guys from the military who were at my table who I think they were listeners, because they seemed to like know what the deal was.
Okay.
And anyway, so we're talking, and he's like working the tables or whatever.
Diego is?
Yeah, and which is a normal thing to happen at these events. The politicians get up and they go to different tables and lie to people, and that's what they do.
Kind of like a wedding when the bride and groom walk around.
So I'm engaged in a conversation with this guy that I'm sitting at the table with, and I can see Diego do it. Like, he sees I'm engaged in the conversation, not knowing that I'm seeing him. So he makes a beeline to our table to shake the hands of these two military guys. Like, if I get in and get out, I can say I went to the table, and he can't say nothing.
Quick.
And I see him
Rob's
do it.
Distracted.
And he's sprinting to get away from the table. And I'm like, all right, crap's on, dude. Like, you're not going to pull that and get away with it. So I'm waiting for him to get away from the tables, because I don't want anybody to say I attacked him, or he didn't see it coming, or whatever. So he's standing over in not the corner, but the far away with another woman having a conversation. I said, okay, now I'm going to go up there and do it. And my wife, God bless her, she's like, don't, because I wanted to record him. I said, I don't want anybody to think I'm making anything up. She's like, don't take your phone. You're there to get answers, and people are going to see it anyway. You're around a room full of people, right? Everybody's going to know. They're going to see you walk up. What you said will be confirmed by the people that were, around you, right? I said, okay, all right, fine. So I walk up to him, and by the way, you said I'm going to respond back and forth here, and I do a pretty good impression of Diego, but you said don't do it.
You do a pretty good impression.
It's pretty spot on, isn't it, Kevin? Tell me, when I was doing that, Kevin was rolling. I thought we were going to have to perform CPR to get him off the floor. It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty accurate.
Now, you said I should not do that, though.
Well, I mean, I just, and it's a lot funnier when you do the Diego voice. You know what? I'm just trying to keep you in the clear.
Well, but I mean, nobody loves diversity more than me. I mean, we've laid out. I mean, my wife is Hispanic, but you said don't do the voice. You said just do it in my own voice.
Do it in your own voice.
Because I don't want the public being confused on who's saying what here.
Yeah.
But you said, and by the way, there's photographic evidence of this. Abdul has reported on it. People around. This is not like this was some super secret, unverified thing that I'm about to describe. So, so I walk up to him, and he immediately starts in with his bullcrap because that's what he does. He is Mr. Gladhander politician, man. Oh, Rob, see, it's so much more funny when I do it sounding like Diego.
If you want to do the voice, you do the voice, but you take all the heat for it.
That's fine, because what I'm about to tell you is very, very important, and I don't want it to get lost in the shuffle. Oh, Rob, it's so nice to see you. He's trying to shake my hand, which I'm being professional. So I said, Diego, who paid for India?
Did you shake his hand?
I did.
Okay.
I did twice.
Okay.
I did.
So you started right away.
Now,
who paid?
Now, for some politicians, need to realize you can be professional with someone and still demand answers, and you don't have to grip and grin for a photo with them at a Pacers game. You can just do your job, like I'm proving right now. And so I said, Diego, because he starts in on, it's always with the bloviating, it's always with the filibustering. And I said, Diego, who paid for India? And he looks at me and goes, I paid for India. See, it's so much better when I do it as Diego. He said, I paid for India. I said, no. Who paid for India? He said, I paid for India. I paid the money back. I said, who paid for the trip for you to go to India? So he's totally stuck on the I paid for India thing, right?
Right.
And so you going around, and he starts in on this thing about, I go overseas. I said, I go overseas to promote Indiana. I wish you promoted Indiana. I said, Diego, that's not your job. It is my job. It's everybody's job. I said, okay, Diego, can you show us proof that you paid the money back? Like you don't, because his whole thing, and he will not come off this. And by the way, I wish somebody had a video recording of it. I would love your family member, who the lie detector lady, to look at the body language, because his arms are flailing. He's got this super dry mouth, and he kept moving closer towards me.
What were you doing?
I had my hands in my pocket. See, I knew my whole thing is I'm not going to let anybody say that I was aggressive with this guy, that I came at him.
Smart.
I put my hands in my pocket.
Nice job,
now,
Rob
a couple
Kendall.
times when I would be out talking, I would, I would have my hands out. But for the most part, hands in pocket, and I was moving backwards. Anytime he would come closer to me, I was like, I'm keeping the barrier here so that there's no, even though I know a room full of people are watching this, the county sheriff is in attendance, and I'm not giving anybody any reason to send me to a local local containment unit of any sort.
Now, I know pictures were taken.
Yes.
You actually posted one to your Twitter account, Rob M. Kendall. If there was video, please put it up online so that we can get the body language.
Now, I know there's somebody, I think it was
checked
for
out.
the people at the event, because there was a guy filming, but I mean, I think he was with the party or whatever. So there's video of something that exists related to this conversation. Anyway, so he's clearly hung up on, I paid the money back. I said, Diego, I said, I think the public, and again, this was like a 10-minute conversation. I'm trying not to do a whole thing on this. We could be here for an hour talking about this. But I said, Diego, the public would feel much better if you would provide some sort of proof you paid the money back, because he's hung up on this. The person doesn't want to be revealed because they could be harassed. They could be harassed. He kept saying.
He brought that up again.
And I said, Diego, we're in a Republican supermajority state. Who's going to be doing this harassment of the person who supported you? Who's going to harass you? I won't be harassed. The business will be harassed. I said, Diego, you're not Elon Musk. I'm not saying I'm Elon Musk. I'm not saying I would be harassed. I'm saying the business. Diego. Okay, I said, Diego, you could present the check. How about we do this? You present the check. You show proof it was cash. You block the name out.
Right.
Just take a black marker. You block it out. and you provide the receipts, right? You provide the receipts, and then everybody knows the receipts match up to the amount on this check. You show it's cash, boom, we all go home.
Right.
We're done here, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, Casey, this is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard. Well, why don't you show me your paycheck? And in my mind, I'm thinking, is this a you show me yours, I'll show you mine competition that we're in the middle of the Clay County Lincoln Day dinner?
He didn't think that you would.
And I said, Diego, I'm not taking taxpayer money. Well, I didn't take taxpayer money. Yes, you're in your official capacity as Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
You're your office said you're acting as Secretary of State
on an economic development trip.
Anything you're doing involves taxpayer money because you're paid by the taxpayers. Mm-hmm. I said, Diego, the taxpayers. Well, why don't you? He got fixated on this. Show me your check.
Does he want to know how much money you made?
I don't know. It was the weirdest thing ever. So finally, I'm like, okay, I'll just call his bluff and go, okay, I accept the terms of your. Whoa! Like he was floored. I said, okay, I accept.
Yeah.
I said, we'll arrange a time. I said, I will email your communications lady Monday. Mm-hmm. I said, you agree to show the check blocked out, show proof it was cash, with the name blocked out, show proof it was cash with receipts. Whoa, I didn't say anything about receipts. I said, well, then how would people know the check is for the correct amount? You could say it was $1,000. I just had all sorts of points that I was blowing through on my flight over there. So I said, fine, Diego, I will accept that potentially you don't show us receipts and you show us a check that resembles something about what a trip to India, including flights and hotels and meals and all of these things might cost, and you block the name out, and I'll show you my paycheck.
Right.
Well, then he starts hedging on that. I said, I thought we had a deal. Or I said, no. I said, we made a deal. I'm going to email your communications person on Monday, which I'm about to read the email that I just sent.
Yeah.
And we will set up a time to do this.
It's very interesting. He's very adamant that he paid for it.
Yes.
He reimbursed.
Right.
Yet is getting a little nervous or skittish about proving it.
And I've given him every benefit of that, which, okay, fine, don't even show the receipts. Of course, people are going to think you're full of crap, but don't even show the receipts. Just show us something that will resemble what a trip to India might cost and prove that it was cashed and taken out of your bank account.
He doesn't want to do that.
Then I also asked him about Raju and what Raju does.
All right, well, let's take a break and get to that.
We're running so long. So we will I'm glad you're a trained professional here. See, I could have 3 hours on this. I'm trying to do it in 2 segments. Okay, so we'll take a break. When we come back, I'll tell you what he said.
The email to Diego's communications director, what he said about Raju, and then how it ended.
Yes, very good. Okay.
All right, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Big, beautiful bill. It's big. It's a bill. We're going to grow this economy. We're going to spend some money. But you got to spend money to make money.
Does anybody trust the government, Republicans or Democrats, to get it right and do that? But if this were Democrats pushing through another $5 trillion, we'd say, what the hell are you doing? If you don't stop the spending, we're going to run out of money.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call Trajan today at 317-480-4040. 317-480-4040.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Talking on the phone is difficult if you've been exposed to loud noises over time. Combat veterans, factory workers, farmers, gun and motorcycle enthusiasts can have trouble hearing on the telephone. Relay Indiana helps return clarity to your phone conversations. A free service providing telecom accessibility, Relay Indiana allows hard of hearing users to have normal phone conversations through specially trained relay operators. Relay Indiana also provides free loaned equipment to those who qualify. Get the captioned telephone from Relay Indiana. Visit relayindiana.com now.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of their best stamped concrete patio through June 30th. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
Okay, so just to reset where we're at on this, I'm talking about this wild Clay County Lincoln Day dinner that I went to on Friday, where I had the conversation with Diego Morales, Secretary of State, about who paid for his trip to India. And what, well, I thought we had settled on, but I don't know now, was that in the most bizarro thing ever, he agreed to show me the check with proof that it had been cashed if I agreed to show him my paycheck from WIBC Urban One.
I have no idea why he wants to see your paycheck. You don't work for the taxpayers, but whatever.
And so he was floored when I accepted his offer.
He didn't think you would.
Because I don't have anything to hide.
Right.
Like, look at the life I live. I live a life that corresponds directly with what you would see on that check. I live in a middle American house on a middle American street on a middle American lawn, and I drive a car that ain't got power locks or windows, buddy. Nothing to hide here. All right, so before we get to the Raju stuff, because I asked him about Raju, I told him I'm going to, he was trying to backpedal out of this after I accepted the offer, but I said, I'm going to send, I think Lindsay Eaton is her name.
Correct.
Right? His communications person. I said, I'm going to send Lindsay Eaton an email. Like, I've accepted the terms of your deal, right? And we'll arrange for this Monday, and we'll set forth. So I have sent this email. It has crossed a state server at some point if people would like to pull this and see it for yourself. But I wanted to read the very nice email that I
that you sent to her
and accepting terms of the deal.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Yes, that's where you would cue this. Yes, it's very kind letter, Kevin. Kind music is necessary. Hello, Lindsay. On Friday at the Clay County Lincoln Day, Secretary of State Morales said he would be willing to show me proof of the check that he used, and proof it was cashed, to pay back his trip to India, if I was willing to show him a copy of my paycheck. I told him I accepted that offer and would reach out to you today to try to arrange a date and time and discuss terms. In parentheses, he was unclear if he would be willing to provide receipts to prove the amount on the check matches up to the cost of the trip.
Yeah.
Could you please respond to this email and let me know dates that would work for Diego, and we can get this done. Also, if he will be providing receipts for the trip, so we can confirm the amounts match up. I know many Hoosiers would feel so much better with proof Diego paid the money back. I am sure you agree.
Yeah.
I copied you on the email, by the way. So
Diego feverishly trying to figure out how much a trip to India costs.
Yes. So then I asked him after we had settled on that, I said, one other thing, because the dinner's getting ready to start and I don't want to be accused of holding everybody up, because all these people are watching us, right?
Yeah.
They're taking pictures, which have surfaced from afar. I said, what does Raju do? What does Raju Shantala do for these state contracts?
Right.
And he said very emphatically, he's in the business services division.
Okay. That's where he works, not what he does.
I said, no. What does Raju do for the money? Like, I show up and broadcast each day. You know, I work for Urban One, but I broadcast for the money. And I think he then repeated that he was in the business services division.
And you said, list of his duties?
Yeah, like what does he do? And then I think, and I don't know if this is a direct quote or not, but I remember just like almost losing it inside. He said something to the effect of, he checks on if the businesses are okay. And I was like,
what?
Like he physically goes to the businesses? Hello, are you okay?
Are you okay? You're good? All right, thanks.
What is he, the Alien Ant Farm song? Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Yeah.
That's his job for $80,000. He checks to see if the businesses are okay.
What does that even mean, okay?
I don't know. I don't know because...
Can you define okay?
I'm not okay. Why isn't anyone checking on me?
Huh. So he spoke.
He did.
It was this before or after? This
is after.
And was he rattled?
Well, so at the Lincoln Day, they let all the statewide, the lawmakers, whatever, get up and they recognize them for a few minutes before the main event. And he launches into this thing, like unprompted, which, that for a thing that was supposedly no big deal and just some left-wing media made-up thing about India, at all these Lincoln Days now, he's mentioning it, including areas that are on the fringe of or outside of our WIBC listening area. So it must not be that fringe. And unprompted, he just launches into this thing about, I paid for India. And it was like, I don't know if I paid for India was the direct quote, but I paid for the trip or something like that.
That was part of his speech.
And I looked at the guy next to me and I said, guess I made it into the speech. And in fact, wow. I was like, where have I heard this? Like the way he just emphatically, like, hey, you're here, like, just give us an update on the Secretary of State's office, and then you launch into this thing about India.
He just wants us to go away so badly.
And I was like, where have I heard this, like, emphatic shouting in a low-key speech before? And then I realized it was Dwight from The Office when he addresses all of the salesmen, and Jim is supposed to write the speech for him, but just gives him a Mussolini speech and tells him how to flail his arms. This sounded exactly like it.
We must never acquiesce, for it is together that we prevail.
I paid for India.
I paid for India.
Okay, and again, this should not be this difficult. And all you lawmakers should be ashamed of yourself. And the statewide, Micah, Braun, Rokita, even Daniel Elliott, who I like Daniel Elliott, but Nishala, all of these people should be ashamed of yourselves. If you're in the state house, shame on you. If you're a state rep, shame on you. If you're a senator, shame on you. The radio guy shouldn't have to go to this links to try to get a basic answer over how all we want to know is who paid for the trip and proof you paid the money back. That's it. Nobody's going to protest. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to riot or picket the business. We'll all go away. That's it. That's it. That's all anybody wants to know. That's not unreasonable. That should be our right as taxpayers on who paid for this trip. And because none of our lawmakers, for who knows what reason, will lift a finger to figure this out, people like us and other media outlets have to do all the work to try to find out what some statewide guy did in a foreign country.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if his communications director replies.
Yeah, I hope that offer was genuine.
He'll be busy that day.
I have to show them my paycheck, my private sector paycheck, to find out that he paid money back.
Yeah.
That's just, okay. Accepted.
Yeah, we'll do it. It is Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here, you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Most insurance accepted.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Now he's in handcuffs. It's cloudy and 72 degrees in the Circle City. 80 is the high today. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Vice President of the Shelbyville Central Schools Board, Dave Finkel, was arrested this morning by the FBI. His home had been searched by the feds earlier this month. All the feds are saying at this point is that this is an active investigation. Missile attacks continue to rain down on Israel after the country launched airstrikes on targets critical to Iran's nuclear program. Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas discussed it this morning on Fox's Mornings with Maria.
The American position and President Trump's position has been, let's at least try every other option first. Let's have them come to the table. Let's talk diplomacy. Let's have these nuclear talks and see if it gets anywhere. And of course it didn't, because the Iranians are highly irrational.
So now he says the time is now to hit Tehran. Amazon and United Launch Alliance are teaming up for another space mission. An Atlas V rocket is set to blast off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station this afternoon. The rocket's supposed to carry over 24 satellites into low Earth orbit for Amazon's second Project Kuiper mission. I'm John Herwick on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text TEAR to 369369. That's TEAR to 369369. TEAR to 369369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
As a caregiver, managing your loved one's health can at times be overwhelming. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joyce House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I'll share 3 tips to help you manage your loved one's medical care effectively.
Cardon & Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Visit cardon.us to find a community near you.
Tip number 1, keep a list of all medications, dosages, and schedules to ensure your loved one is taking their medication correctly. Second, attend doctor's appointments with your loved one when you're able. And finally, stay organized by keeping forms, notes, and other important documents in one secure place. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joyce House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Pierce Jewelers is the best family-owned jewelry store in Carmel. All jewelry and watch repair, appraisals, and custom design are done in-house. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Mike loves summer in Indy, but he hates to paint. So he called Rhino Shield.
Our home is basically a contemporary, and we just started noticing that the paint was just fading and just looked like garbage. We had received a postcard from Rhino Shield, and we decided to take a look at it.
Rhino Shield's formulated for our specific climate here in Indiana.
The process with Rhino Shield and their crew, they were just very conscientious. We had problems in the past with painters. They leave debris and everything. Well, we didn't have that with Rhino Shield.
Way better than paint, backed by a 25-year warranty. And right now, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price.
The thing about Rhino Shield, the heat gain has been reduced, and we save $70 a month. You don't hear that about any type of paint.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
Well, this is ironic.
What's that?
We just did those segments about Diego and who paid for India.
Mm-hmm.
Jason says once a year he takes a trip to India, and he sent me a photo here, it looks like, and he said, I'm listening to you streaming on WIBC.com in India.
In India. Interesting. How much does it cost for Jason to get that?
I should listen. If he's still, I will ask that. I will say, what does a round trip, that sounds like Austin Powers there. Allow me to introduce myself. How much does a round trip vacation
trip? Round trip airfare?
Yeah, well, the whole thing. I mean, I want to know the hotels and all that. I'm going to ask him right now about that. How much does that cost? That would give us an idea when we see that check if it's in the ballpark.
I love that you asked for receipts.
Well, why wouldn't you?
I didn't say anything about receipts.
I mean, why wouldn't you? So if you
I'll show you a cleared check, but not the receipts.
Yeah, I mean, so if you missed the last couple segments, I had that pretty high-profile spirited back and forth with Diego Morales on Friday at the Clay County Lincoln Day, and finally he launched into something about me showing my paycheck to him, and then let's show each other our paychecks.
Wait a minute, like, you get paid?
Yeah, I don't even want to, like, I don't care about your paycheck. I know what you make. You work for the taxpayers, but I want to know how much, the proof that you paid this money back.
Because he keeps claiming,
right,
I paid for it.
Yes.
I reimbursed it.
Yeah. 90% of this would go away. This is how easy we've made it on him at this point. 90% of this would go away if he could show a check that has been cashed with the dates that correspond to when he claimed he wrote the check for an amount that resembles what a trip to India would cost for the 10 days that he was there.
I'm sure with a little note in the memo.
It can't be made
India trip.
any easier on him at this point.
Right.
Like, we're just like, give us some sort of lifeline to go, okay, the guy at least paid the money back or whatever. I mean, he just, like, yeah, it's beyond ridiculous at this point. It's beyond ridiculous that this is this hard to get the just slightest amount of transparency.
But Rob, why would he lie? Didn't he say that to you?
At one point, he did say something to the effect of, why it was either, why would I lie? See, this is why I wish I would actually recorded the conversation, but my wife was like, no, you're very concerned about this. This is not gotcha stuff. Because he even said at one point, I'm sure you're recording this. I said, I'm not recording anything. I said, I will tell the public what you said, but I'm not recording anything. Others may have been.
When you're going to open your shirt and prove you're not wired.
Would you like to, what do they call that? When
frisk you?
Frisk me up. That's it. Yes, at one point he did say something to the effect of, like, why would I lie? I'm an honest person. And
okay.
And then at one point he tried
then
to tell me
remove all doubt.
He wouldn't lie because he's a Christian. And it's like, Diego, we are not asking you to do anything unreasonable. You went as Secretary of State. Your office has confirmed it was an official office visit. They've sent correspondence about it from your official office account. All we want to know is who paid for the trip to do your official duties. And at this point, we'll even accept proof that you paid the money back.
Right. Because now he's saying he paid for it.
That's right.
So
you don't have to put anyone at risk. Show the receipts. I know you had to get the cost of the trip from something.
Because he hasn't wanted to mention this business to protect them, right? Because they're going to be harassed.
Right. And that was one of the
Okay, so you reimburse it.
One of the other things that he was going on about was they don't have any business with my office. And I said, Diego, how do we know? And that's when he said, I'm an honest person. That's when I think when he said, I'm an honest person. And it was like,
and I'm really a blonde.
It's like, what, like, just tell us. This is, I mean, it's so, the average person driving down the street is hearing this, saying a government official goes to a foreign country to do something he doesn't have, is not in his job purview, which is economic development, which he has no responsibility for whatsoever. Some mysterious company pays for it. The average person goes, okay, who was that? I'd just like to know that's above board. And if that person is some well-meaning person who loves because that's his argument. It's some well-meaning person who loves the state of Indiana.
Right.
Okay. If that's Mike Braun, who they sent over there, who can actually cut economic development deals, I'm in the ballgame on that. I still want to know who it is. I still want to know who paid for it. We have a right to know who's sending our politicians places if it ain't us. But at least I would go, okay, I can see that. But that's
part of his job.
You don't have any ability to make any deals. Like, why would you don't have any ability to do anything with that? Okay, you paid it back. Okay. Still doesn't make me not wonder who paid for the trip, but I'd just like to see proof you paid it back, and then we'll all go home.
Yeah.
Like, we've given this guy a million different ways to show I didn't get any benefit from going.
Checking my email to see if we've gotten a response from his communications department.
Hi, Jason. How long are you in India? Would you mind sharing an estimate on what that trip? That's pretty wild. He's listening in India. Oh, he's talking to me right now as I'm emailing him.
Mm-hmm. What do you say?
Okay. I fly on a budget. I shop around, and it costs about $1,500 round trip for economy class.
Okay.
Okay, so he has family that stays over there. Okay.
So he's not paying for room and board.
So, but again, Diego would need to disclose all of that because anywhere he's staying, he's getting a benefit for. There is a value to that. This is not, unless Diego's got some family in India, which is where Jason claims he's staying.
Mm-hmm.
Anything he's doing would be a benefit, and he would need to disclose that. So the check would have to be somewhere between, I don't know, at the bare minimum, $5 to $10 grand, probably. Because he was
there for 10 days.
Well, he took his bros with him too.
Right.
We know Raju went with him.
Mm-hmm.
As
Raju, didn't he say Raju paid his own way though?
Did Raju? We don't know.
Wow.
This is why I want the receipts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is pretty simple, right? Like in a business, when you go on a business trip and you go somewhere and then you want to get reimbursed, don't they make you show receipts?
Absolutely.
To know the money you're asking for? You know, you do a little tally. Here's what I'm owed back.
Concur. There's entire apps that are designed for this.
Right.
For business travel.
And this is not us digging into some guy's private life. It's saying you are acting as the official Secretary of State for the state of Indiana. You have represented yourself as such. Your office has confirmed that you are on official business. We have the right to know what you did, and we would ask this about Daniel Elliott, Elise Nishala, in Braun. I mean, look at how Capitol Chronicle's digging in and has been digging in for all these years to try to find out who paid for all these Holcomb trips. It's not gotcha anything. It's just let us know. The public wants to know.
When you first started speaking with Diego at the Clay County Lincoln Day dinner, was he surprised or was he happy to see you, friendly?
Well,
what was the vibe?
He was talking to some lady, and so I walked up, and he kind of acted like he was startled, like he'd seen a ghost or something. And then I said, I'll let you guys finish your conversation, because I didn't want to be interrupting.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he was like involved in some deep conversation with this person. Like they were just shooting the breeze, or maybe they'd already talked or whatever. And then he pivoted and went right into the bull crap, the glad handing. And it's like, dude, you know why I'm here. I just want to know two very simple questions. Who paid for the trip? And how are you going to provide proof that you paid it back? So, all right, is Hammer here today?
Stay tuned. I believe so. So if he is, he'll be joining us next. Right. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the latest out of Israel and Iran, the latest on the capture of that Minnesota killer, and the latest on the silliness of no kings. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Guys, looking for a Father's Day gift that will give Dad an extra boost of health and energy he needs to live his best life? Low T Center is offering free weight loss consultations and free T tests as a special offer celebrating dads. Treatment is personalized and most major insurance is accepted.
With the freedom to choose in-center care or at-home treatment, you're helping put Dad back in control of his health. Now, until the 21st, enjoy a free B12 shot when you stop in for TRT and weight loss. Offer limited. Book now at fixmylowt.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for our friend Mark Deedle. You know, home sales activity is good, not great. So many homes, if improperly marketed, are sitting on the market. Hiring the wrong sales agent will cost you time and money. Hire the expert who maximizes equity and sells fast. The expert realtor I recommend is Mark Deedle. Maybe you want fast, guaranteed, no hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Kevin and Angela in Greenwood had to say about working with Mark Deedle. The big home was too much, and it was time for Dad to move into a maintenance-free community, but we needed cash from the home. To fund the change, we reached out to the Mark Deedle team, who helped with the entire process, from selling belongings to prepping the home for maximum value. We went on the market and sold for $5,000 over asking price in less than 7 days. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Deedle, 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdeedle.com. It's Mark, DIETEL.com.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Need air conditioning service and want to work with a local company you can trust like B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical? Find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
If you're pressed for time, the WIBC Mashup Podcast is your shortcut to the smartest, sharpest, and strangest moments on air. It's the best content from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Updated daily. Find the WIBC Mashup wherever you get your podcasts.
Pacers game tonight, Game 5. They got to win. They got to win, don't they? I mean, they don't technically have to win, but
it's not a must-win. But if you lose tonight, then you've got to sweep the Thunder the last two. Vegas has Oklahoma City as a 9.5-point favorite tonight. Over under around 225. Looking forward to the game tonight because Friday was such a disappointment. Man, I had a bad night gambling on that game. Only hit 1 out of the 4 prop bets. Pacers blew a big lead late. Man.
I feel like they just quit running offense at times. I know there's not like a real high level of organization to an NBA offense. I mean, I know they know what they're doing, but it's not like the Bob Knight motion offense. But it just seems like guys just stop playing in any sort of organized offense multiple times during that game.
For the Pacers to win, they have to have multiple dudes playing pretty good. Don't have to be great. You know, you need Halliburton to kind of be your centerpiece or Siakam, one of those two, but you have to get good efforts out of everybody else. And if you look at the, I'm going to go full statistics nerd here, the plus minus of the bench players, normally it's always a plus for the Pacers. Yeah. All minuses on Friday night. So when the bench is not playing well, the Pacers are in trouble. And that's what happened on Friday because the starters were great. The bench was bad.
How do you feel about the officiating?
Bad. Yeah. Real bad. But it's the NBA, right? I mean, you have to put yourself in a position where Scott Foster can't get you beat.
They call him, what's the nickname
for
him?
The Extender.
Why do they call him that?
Well, when the NBA feels like they need a little bit extra revenue, maybe sell a few more tickets, you call in the Extender, and he extends the series. If a team's down 2-0, if a team's down 3-1, enter Scott Foster, the Extender.
I thought they called him that because of traveling or just a few extra steps.
Oh,
he extended a few paces.
You know what's funny? There was a Pacer named Scott Foster, correct?
Jeff Foster.
Or Jeff Foster. Yeah. Okay. So when I first heard that, because of the last name, I was like, why are people being mean to that guy? He's a beloved Pacer.
That's an awesome Foster. Scott Foster somehow called me for a flagrant foul walking into the studio today. I woke up this morning and in my kitchen, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was shooting free throws already.
Yeah, the Greg Valentine chop in the corner that they let him get away with. That was a pretty obvious.
So the play Rob's talking about, Benedict Matherin's at the free throw line, and Tyrese Halliburton standing behind one of the Thunder players who just gives him like a chop forearm and knocks him down. Scott Foster's looking right at it. It was so egregious. Matherin at the free throw line stops, does a 180 and turns around and looks at it. And nobody blows a whistle at all.
Yeah, I thought I was going to stand over him and go, woo!
Shuffle around like Ric Flair at that point.
Yeah, that's not a good look for your league. Not that they care. And by the way, let's talk about how bad the coverage has been for ESPN.
Listen, the big winner in this has been TNT.
That's right.
Because everybody on social media is like, can we just get TNT back?
Yes.
Yes, we all love the studio show of Ernie and Shaq and Chuck and Kenny, but even the play-by-play crew is better. The next time Kendrick Perkins is right about anything will be the first time. And it's going to be interesting because ESPN, from what we gather, they're bringing in the TNT guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a feeling just Barkley and Shaq ain't going to put up with that stuff from like Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. They've kind of made that clear. When they signed off on TNT,
right? They
Shaq
said,
was dropping F-bombs.
Yeah, he was.
We're coming to run this bleeping thing.
Mm-hmm. So don't mess it up.
Right.
You did win your six games bet.
Yes.
So you did cash that.
Yes. I before the series had over 5.5 games. I thought either team were good for two wins. So we cashed that, but man, rough night on Friday. We missed one prop by 1 point.
Yeah, that's hate
McConnell didn't show up, didn't give us many assists.
Normally a Broad Ripple 8 at home played like the Broad Ripple 3 he usually is on the road.
Right. So tonight, Slick Leonard, if you're up in heaven, we need you. We need Mel Daniels. We need you to get all the guys together and give us some mojo. Put a curse on Scott Foster if he's the referee tonight. Give him diarrhea so he can't show up to the arena. I don't know who the officials are tonight, but all we're asking for is a fair shake, and the bench dude's got to show up. Give us some boom babies from heaven tonight.
Did you see Casey got recognized at a casino over the weekend?
She did. She did.
I got
Big
Pagano'd.
time?
You got.
So for those who don't know, Casey once was at a casino with her husband, saw former Colts head coach Chuck Pagano abandon her husband and spent 3 hours putting the moves on Chuck while he was trying to sit there at the bar.
He does have a big wallet.
And watch the ball game, and she wouldn't leave him alone.
Yeah, and then it happened to me. I couldn't believe it. The place was packed, too. There were a lot of people there.
That's what happens when you partner with IBC, baby.
Yeah, there were a lot of people there, and I sat down at a random slot machine, and somebody, hey. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is what I did to Chuck Pagano.
Now, how did you engage with the person? How long did you give them before you're like, I'm going back to my thing?
Well, we were kind of near each other, so we were talking, sitting at our chairs.
Yeah.
And by the way, I went ahead and hit $100.
You won?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
I didn't walk away a winner.
Oh, for the day you were not
For
a
the
winner.
day, no. But that engagement, that encounter, yes,
Okay.
I won. And then we talked a little bit more, and then I said, all right, I got to move on to another machine because this one just paid me out.
Because had I been rolling and this guy comes up to talk to me, I would have gave him the same treatment that Halliburton got at the free throw line from the Thunder player.
How long, when you see somebody who notices you in public, you're not at a work event, you're just out, whatever, how long is the appropriate amount of time to give somebody before you're like, well, see ya?
A couple seconds, I think. I was at Kroger this past weekend, and dude's like, hey, Hammer and Nigel, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, which one are you? It's like, I'm Hammer.
What's in your cart?
He's like, oh, that's about right. Nigel's not here. Like, yeah, right on, buddy. Gave him like a fist bump and walked inside to Kroger.
Okay.
That's great.
So a couple, because I never know. I never know, like, how long do I have to, like,
You don't have
entertain
to
you?
hug him, per se, but acknowledge him, talk a little smack, be cordial.
That way I'll know, is 10 seconds is sufficient?
I think so. I think so.
No, she was very nice. So
You gave more than 10 seconds?
I did. I gave a little bit more.
Well, see, now you've spoiled her. Now every time she sees you out and about.
She was nice. She's a big fan of the station.
And if there's somebody you don't give 10 seconds,
we
they're going to be like,
appreciate her
oh,
listening.
she gave this woman 10 seconds, but not me. How'd your golf bets go this weekend?
Well, we talked about this. It was a great, the rain. It was setting up, I think it may have been the highest scoring U.S. Open in history, and then the rain. But Oakmont is so great that even though the rain came, only one guy finished under par, and he made a miracle putt at the end to finish under par.
That putt was amazing.
It was, and I hated that when as soon as it went, I was like, because par for the U.S. Open is, if it's over par, the course wins. If it's under par, the golfers win. I'm always rooting for the course to win. I feel like then that meant the golfers won, but only one guy being under par of all the great golfers. That was a good, in that rain, it would have been like 7 or 8 over without the rain. The rain.
Did you see Caitlin Clark was asking, is Oakmont even fun to play?
Yeah, not if you had to play it from the tips.
IndyCar race was awesome last night, by the way. I wish they would do that more often. More ovals, please. Hey, this afternoon, Monday Gun Day. Guy Relford joins us in studio, and we're going to have the biggest stories of the day. A lot of stuff going on. Big weekend to recap.
Thanks, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been a local, family-owned and operated business for nearly 50 years and helps keep Central Indiana's economy strong by employing over 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis stands by their products and services while they share and embrace our conservative values. So when you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis, 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com. Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at Life Church. We had a great time yesterday at Life Church, and one of the things we love about Life Church is at Life Church, you're so much more than just a number. You're an individual. They treat you like family from the moment you walk in the door. They're warm, they're welcoming. They would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. They make it super easy for you with campuses across Central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Great online services. Learn more about everything on the web, lifechurchin.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
At Hendricks, our cancer care
is in the details.
When you are with us, and you have our time and you have our energy.
We have a wonderful team of highly trained oncologists, physical therapists, speech pathologists, dietitians.
Always making sure that the patient is the center of the care.
We have excellent nurse navigation that are skilled at identifying barriers to treatment,
as well as expertise from Mayo Clinic.
It is more personal care than just a number.
Visit hendricks.org/cancer.
You know that feeling of a fresh, clean home? Well, summer's finally here, and it's time to take advantage of Zerorez's best deal of the summer. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $129. Take $75 off air duct cleaning, too, when you mention WIBC. Hi, this is Denny Smith, and Zerorez can handle every surface in your home and business. The carpets, tile and grout, hardwood, laminate, stone, upholstery, rugs, air ducts. Now think about everything left behind on and in your floors. Dirt, dust, allergens, pet dander. It's time to get Zerorez-ified. Zerorez uses their platinum-rated cleaning system that safely and effectively removes all the deeply embedded nasty dirt, dander, and bacteria. Better yet, it's safe for people, pets, and the planet. Zerorez cleans with no soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, and gives you fresher carpets and cleaner air for your family. So don't wait. Just call and book the Zerorez Pros today. 317-388-5141. Online at ZerorezIndy.com.
Retirement planning can be confusing. That's why Expedition Retirement now has a new name. Join us for Fire Your Financial Advisor, Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, a man in Central Indiana was arrested this morning. You'll hear why. When you might be dealing with some rain this week, and what protesters who were in Indianapolis this past weekend said they were looking for. Those stories and much more headed your way after Fox News Radio. You are listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Can they talk their way out of the war? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Well, Iran's president warns if Israel doesn't stop attacking, the retaliation will be more severe. The Wall Street Journal reports Iran is sending messages through intermediaries that they'd return to negotiations if the U.S. does not help Israel. And this may be why Iran wants that.
Israel may not be able to reach the parts of Iran's nuclear program that are buried inside mountains and underground without U.S. help. U.S. B-2 bombers are the only air asset that can drop the 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin also reports from the Pentagon Israel has taken out Iran's defenses so they can
now carry out airstrikes and hunt down the mobile ballistic missile launchers that are terrorizing Israeli cities.
The missiles that got through the Iron Dome defense have killed at least 8 people in Israel. As Israel also keeps attacking nuclear sites so Iran can't build weapons. Israeli President Isaac Herzog tells Fox,
"We are trying to eradicate a threat
they are trying to kill civilians. And all I say is to the world, if you want to de-escalate, get the damn nukes out of Tehran's hands.
And all that'll be discussed at a G7 summit of world leaders in Canada starting today. President Trump said on his way there.
I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens, but sometimes they have to fight it out.
Also last night, the president in a Truth Social post called for expanded illegal immigration raids and deportations in Democrat power centers, cities like Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles, where he deployed the National Guard and Marines to deal with ongoing protests. Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz denouncing violence in politics, urging people
talk to a neighbor rather than arguing. Debate an issue. Shake hands. Find common ground.
This after Saturday's shootings targeting 2 Democratic lawmakers, killing State Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, badly wounding State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. The suspected gunman, Vance Belter, was captured last night crawling in a field. He's due in court this afternoon facing murder and attempted murder charges. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
An investigation, a search, and a man in handcuffs. Skies are cloudy, and it's 74 degrees in downtown Indy. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Federal charges for a former Shelbyville school board leader. Ryan Hedrick reports.
David Finkel was arrested Monday morning, less than 2 weeks after the FBI searched his home in Shelbyville. Finkel, the former vice president of the Shelbyville School Board and longtime director of the Strand Theater. The FBI confirmed the arrest, but did not share any details about the charges. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Rain is expected to be a factor across Indiana all week long.
Generally, most of the area is going to stay dry Tuesday into early Tuesday night, but then we've got those storm chances Wednesday into Wednesday night being the main threat for rain this week for the state.
Andrew White with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says the storms could be either strong or severe on Wednesday. They're worried about Medicaid cuts and they want a world of inclusion. That's why state police say an estimated 3,000 Hoosiers gathered at the Indiana State House for the No Kings protest Saturday as President Trump celebrated his 79th birthday with a military parade in D.C. At least one person was arrested for a scuffle with an opposing protester in Indianapolis. The NBA Finals knotted up at 2 games apiece between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 5 tonight in Oklahoma City at 8:30. The Indiana Fever with a win over the New York Liberty Saturday afternoon, 102-88, which gave the Liberty their first loss of the regular season. With more on that, here's Jake McDaniel.
Point guard Caitlin Clark returned to the court and helped secure the win.
Yeah, I felt good. I took one in transition. That's kind of like where I like to get to early, and it's always good to see the ball go through the hoop. And then I came down and shot another one. Then I came down and shot another one and saw 3 in a row go in, so that gives you a lot of confidence.
She finished with a season high of 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston also stepped up, scoring the last 3 buckets. Boston had 10 points and Mitchell had 22. Fever take on the Connecticut Sun Tuesday evening at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for a 7 Eastern tip-off. Jake McDaniel, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. It's 11:04. Kendall and Casey coming back in 1 minute.
Stop putting screens on your gutters. If the holes are too big, debris gets in and you're still cleaning your gutters. If the holes are too small, it sits on top and you're cleaning the screens. And those screens will need to be replaced. They just don't last. Pat Sullivan here. I have Gutter Helmet on my home and business, and it has no holes, slots, or screens. It keeps the debris out and the water in. Since 1981, Gutter Helmet has been America's #1 choice for gutter protection. And this is a great time of year to call Gutter Helmet of Central Indiana, because right now, Gutter Helmet is offering a 15% discount plus 12 months no interest financing if paid in full within 12 months. Call 800-5HELMET, that's 800-5HELMET, to schedule a free estimate. 15% off is good through the end of June. Restrictions apply and cannot be combined with other offers. Call Gutter Helmet today at 800-5HELMET or go to gutterhelmetindy.com and never clean your gutters again.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
So I saw that the IBJ called on Hogsett to resign.
Yeah, they did that Friday evening at the end of the work week. And isn't that something? Indianapolis being captivated by the Pacers game, and then IBJ says, oh, by the way, here's what we think.
Well, at least it is some mainstream media outlet stating the obvious, which is the guy couldn't run a lemonade stand, much less you putting him in charge of the capital city, and the damage that his wounded brand is doing to our city. I mean, he's bad at governance, period. It's not like it's some guy who are like, man, this sucks because he's so good at governing. He's not good at it anyway. Ryan Hedrick, when he was on last week with us, I thought had the perfect analogy. And if you missed that, I can't remember what day it was, maybe Thursday. Ryan Hedrick came on because Ryan Hedrick spent years in the throes of addiction. He's quite candid about it. He obviously has the podcast called Supporting Sobriety that he does with Matt Baer, where they lay out the trials and tribulations they went through and the struggles they had. And he said, look, I know how to spot an addict, and this guy has serious addiction issues. And he said, he runs the city the way I ran my life when I was an addict. And he was talking about the chaos and the never-ending projects and the things that start and don't get finished. And he said all of these things are telltale signs of people who can't manage their personal existence. And so when you couple that with the fact that he's really bad at governing, he being Joe Hogsett is bad at governing, on top of the fact that he is a personal dumpster fire and his personal afflictions, ailments, shortcomings, whatever word you want to use, have bled into his ability to run the city. Because we all have personal shortcomings. We all have afflictions, ailments. But does it affect your job? Does it affect the ability to do your job? And does it affect the ability to do your job that is a public job in which the taxpayers are responsible for paying, not only for you to do the job, but the things that you set forth, right? If you or I come in here and we stink at our job, or Kev stinks at our job, that is the decision of Urban One, a private company, the management of that company, to decide whether we stay around or not. And the only pocketbooks we're hurting is Urban One. They're investors, whatever, and people are paid to make those choices. This guy is responsible every year for billions of dollars of taxpayer money, taxpayer investments, public safety at all, and he has no business being in charge of anything.
So IBJ said they don't take the recommendation lightly, but we're ready for him to turn the job over to someone who will provide the leadership the city needs. They went on to say the Hogsett administration has never been able to articulate a clear strategy for the city, a message or a plan through which business and community leaders could rally.
But the problem becomes now, and this is what the past couple weeks have shown us, any person who would step up to take that position, the likely front runners, has proven themselves to be cowardly and unwilling to step up and do what's right, other than Josh Bain and Jesse Brown, and there was one other, and I forget who there's one other council member who has called for his resignation. Three out of, that's basically just a little bit less than 10%. So any person that you're going to put in that position is going to be a person who has enabled the behavior, who has backed up the behavior, who has essentially condoned the behavior.
The question that I have is, why did it, I mean, it's great they said it. Why did it take him so long?
Yeah, that is, I mean, it is fair, because let's go back to 2020. Andy Nielsen, thank you. Yes, that's who the third council member was. It's a great point, because as bad as this is it really worse than the mayor disappearing during the riots?
Right.
Is it really worse than year after year after year of record or near record homicides and violence in the city? Is it
worse than businesses leaving?
Right. Is it worse than year after year after year the inability to properly plow snow and make streets safe or pave roads and make them drive? Like, it's all stuff. Like, it's all bad. It's all in the same soup of incompetence and an inability to manage one's self and then manage the people around you.
Yeah. Okay, did you see the latest from the Trump organization? They announced the Trump Mobile. It's going to offer 5G service starting at $47.45.
Okay, how does Trump make money off of this? Like
his name's on it.
Well, I know.
Trump Mobile.
But how is that a thing? This would be my question, is who's actually making money off of this and how? Because if his name's on it, that would tend to indicate he has given a blessing. And I get that other people are running the Trump organization. I understand that. However, they're clearly capitalizing on his name.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're going to be critical of the lawmakers, the Congress people, and the way they're using their knowledge and information to capitalize on and make money, then I think we have to provide a high level of scrutiny to these sorts of things as well, because let's face it, he has unlimited earned media. I mean, he has billions and billions of dollars every day of earned media, and I get he gets a lot of grief for the stuff that he does, and I'm not saying that it's all sunshines and rainbows, but I don't know. This when these politicians are making money while they're in public office, or their companies they ran, or things that they stand to re-inherit once they leave the public life are making money. That is a major red flag to me.
It looks like he was not present at the announcement. He's, in fact, on his way, or actually in Canada for the G7 summit, and one of his sons was there. They plan to release a phone in August called the T1 phone, and it's described as a sleek gold smartphone engineered for performance and proudly designed and built in the United States.
Okay, so let's go back to this, though, because it'd be one thing if it's like, what's the one? Is it Mint Mobile, where their whole deal was like it's $15? Ryan Reynolds owns that, right? Where it's $15 a month. This plan that you're describing, and I'm reading the USA Today article on it, the 47 plan. So they're clearly capitalizing on Trump being the 47th president.
Correct.
It's $47.45 per month.
Right.
Which that's not even a great price point. You can get major cell phone carriers which have towers all over this country and are the tippy top people, and they don't charge that much. So they're clearly capitalizing the
brand.
There's a high price point, and they're putting these two numbers deliberately because those are what he was president. So they are using the presidency. Come back to my statement. I mean, they're using the presidency to make money. I'm not okay with this. I don't think people should be able. And you look at why the people who founded the country believed in this too, and they never believed in the idea of the career politician, which is why they would send the best and brightest amongst them to Washington. They went begrudgingly. They did the job, whatever it was, rep or senator, to the best of their ability for a short period of time, and then they went back to be successful because you shouldn't be able to capitalize off your position in public office.
Donald Trump, he's in Canada for the Group of Seven. It's the G7 Economic Summit. It's held just outside of Calgary, and it coincides with all of the U.S. trade tensions, the tariffs, and Donald Trump calling for more travel bans on more countries. And he's expected to speak with Zelensky while he's there from Ukraine.
All right, let's take a break. What are we doing? What's going on next?
Do you want to talk about the price of bacon, the roller coasters at Kings Island, or an analyst who said you better fill up your gas tank now?
Why don't we do all three?
Okay, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Karine Jean-Pierre. Latest to put some tell-all book out there about the Biden White House and...
Oh, her horrible book. Karine Jean-Pierre and her horrible book. Ugh.
She's saying that she is leaving the Democrat Party now because of the way the party treated Joe Biden.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024
Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP $105,195. Nautilus MSRP $60,195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
If you used to hear a whole lot of this,
but now you can barely hear this. You need to check out RelayIndiana.com and the Caption Telephone. The Caption Telephone allows you to get your groove back when using the telephone. It uses voice recognition technology so you can read on a bright screen what the other caller is saying. Go to RelayIndiana.com and add clarity back into your conversations with the Caption Telephone from Relay Indiana. Visit RelayIndiana.com now.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. We are cleaning out inventory. Save up to 50% off Lazy Boy, Smith Brothers, and Flex Steel. And if it's in stock, save up to an extra 25% off. Save up to 20% off Berlin Gardens and Pollywood Outdoor Furniture. And save up to 50% off floor sample mattresses, including Tempur-Pedic. First come, first serve. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Guess what, Rob?
What?
Price of bacon's gone up.
Wait, I was told everything was going down in price.
Bacon prices up 18%. They've increased nearly 20% since last year.
Wait. I was told all the stuff was going down in price.
Well, egg prices have come down, but this other breakfast item going up.
Now, how much of the egg price thing has to do with, remember there was the bird flu issue, and they said it'd take about 6 months to resolve. I wonder how much of the egg prices going down is just they got all the chickens back online,
Right.
for lack of a better term.
I still see that the cooler is mostly empty at the grocery store.
Well, and you know, like, what is it in sales? Always be closing, ABC.
Yeah.
In politics, it's ABS, always be spinning. And so if you're Trump, whether you had anything to do with it or not, you're going to spin. Look at egg prices are down.
Egg prices are down if you can find them.
But I do wonder what percentage of that is simply because nature has taken its course and they've been able to get more chickens producing eggs, et cetera. The logical question is, what has Trump done that any economist or whatever would say it's really cooling inflation? There's been no spending cuts.
No.
They haven't made any changes. There's been really no, other than Doge. I mean, I'm not trying to demean what Doge has done, but in the grand scheme of things, $9 billion is nothing in cuts.
Well, it's not as much as Elon Musk promised, by the way.
Yeah, what? Because he promised $1 trillion, right? That's something. If you send me $1 trillion, it's like, okay, let's go. $9 billion, while we'll take it, because any bad government should be eliminated no matter the cost, it's not going to make a difference. So logically, you would ask yourself, what has Trump done that you would say, well, that's reducing
a
the price
contributing
of
factor
things.
to the egg price going down.
The answer is nothing.
Okay, when it comes to bacon, the experts are saying that higher prices may be here to stay for a while, and it's because of multiple reasons. Some of the contributing factors they claim are tariffs, rising wages, supply and demand shifts, and also higher pig production costs.
Well, you wonder, like with eggs, too, how much of the lowering of cost of eggs as well is just people have checked out of it. They're like, it just got too expensive. I mean, you see this a lot of times.
I'm going to pass on eggs.
Well, you see this a lot of times with products where whatever it is, there's a price point where which people check out and go, I'm just moving on to something else. And it will take them a while to recognize, because you stop looking for it in the grocery store. You stop paying attention to it. It takes you a while to then re-engage in buying that product if you've had a bad experience, whatever the reason might be, to cause you not to keep purchasing that thing.
So it's being reported by NBC News that bacon prices tend to fluctuate more dramatically. That's one food item that can vary big time depending on where you buy it from. For example, in Dallas, you can get a pound of bacon for $4. You go out to Los Angeles, it's going to be $7. Obviously, you know, many things in California cost more just the cost of living is more.
Yeah.
When was the last time you bought bacon? You don't know. You don't eat bacon, do you?
I don't really eat breakfast food, so I'm out.
So you're out of that.
I'm out. Yeah, so that would be forever and ever ago.
It's been a while, huh? Another thing that's been going up and you're being warned to take care of now is the price of gas.
Wait.
I know. You said this.
I heard all the politicians bragging about the Republicans about how low the gas was. In fact, I heard Banks the other day, I think it was Banks, was bragging about this, about how much the price of gas has gone down. Now, wait a second. What are you telling me?
So there was a gas price analyst, and he was saying, fill up the gas in your car tank soon. And that has directly to do with Israel's attack on Iran.
Okay, so we talked about this a little bit on Friday, must have been Friday, where I said, Israel doesn't pass gas without our permission. So the idea that we're doing the me so stupid routine on, we didn't tell them to do this. If the United States would have been adamant, don't do this, they wouldn't have done it. Doesn't mean the U.S. is involved in it. It means the U.S. is clearly condoning the thing. And I see both sides of this in the sense of you are dealing with legit crazy people who would gladly kill every Jew they could get their hands on if they were allowed to do it and could get away with it. So you are dealing with a bunch of homicidal maniacs, but it's going to cause great disruption across the globe, and it is going to result in things like gasoline being more expensive, which will result in everything else being more expensive.
So Dahan, he's a analyst for Gas Buddy. He said the gas prices in the U.S., they're expected to rise soon, with potential increases linked directly to the tensions between Israel and Iran. And isn't that exactly what you said?
Yes. So 11/22 on June the. So all these days run together now. What is today? The day? What is today? Is the 16th?
Today is the 16th.
June the 16th. Least favorite part of every show.
When you're right.
That's right.
So you were right.
That's correct.
Fill up your tank now before the prices increase.
Yes.
So you probably aren't a big roller coaster rider. I'm gonna guess that from you.
I don't know if I've ever been on like a legitimate big person roller coaster. I went on one when I was in Disney World when I was a kid. I mean, it was not a massive roller coaster though, and I said that's it for me, and I've never been back.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're warning people if you go to Kings Island and you're going to get on a coaster, shut your mouth because of the cicada emergence.
You could get one in your. Go down the gullet there.
Right. Brood 14 cicadas have apparently emerged at Kings Island Amusement Park. And, of course, they're adding a nice noise to your experience. But people are also saying, they're flying right into your mouth while you're screaming going down the big hill.
I've always viewed the rides as like a risk-reward thing where I know there's a big risk. Like, what if the man who assembles the roller coaster, we've seen these things go off the tracks or something breaks or whatever. Like, that's definitely a possibility versus what is the reward? I get to be miserable. Like, so why would I do it? I mean, the upside is I live and I'm miserable for several minutes while I'm on this roller coaster.
But some people are into the adrenaline rush they get from it, right? Thrill seekers.
How about you put that adrenaline rush towards something like make government better or solve world hunger or, clothe the needy couldn't we put that energy? I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm just simply espousing a viewpoint that if you want an adrenaline rush, there's many things that we could give people that would actually end up a better society than just running the risk of, imminent doom on a roller coaster.
I used to love them. As I get older, not as much.
Would you go on one now?
I don't know. Not a real big one. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Kevin would.
Kevin's back, by the way.
Yeah, I like the roller coasters at Holiday World.
I knew it. I knew you were you're an adventure animal.
I'm an adrenaline junkie.
You are. Yeah. That's why you go. That's why you spend your vacations in other countries doing who knows what, and
exactly.
We assume that all those actions are above board and won't put you on a wanted poster in a post office, but you don't know. I think it sort of reveals who you are as a human being. Like my life is I go home and I don't leave my house. Kev's life is I'm going to go, when I take my vacation days, there will be I will not cross the county line. And then Kevin, he's in another world.
Right. He goes across the pond even. So some of the visitors to Kings Island have actually started embracing the cicadas and intentionally taking them on the roller coaster ride with them, propping them on there.
Like they catch one?
Yeah, they catch one.
They don't fly away?
I don't know. Put it.
Are they enjoying the roller coaster
too? Put it in your pocket. To take them on the rides. Treat it like a friend. I guess it's better than accidentally swallowing one.
No kidding.
That would be disgusting.
Huh.
Okay, so Caitlin Clark, did you see her performance over the weekend?
She played pretty well first game back.
She played really well, and of course the Fever, they beat the Liberty, and she said, is Oakmont even fun to play? Talking about the golf that was going on. We were very close. She almost had the triple-double.
What I think we saw out of, and now we got to do this, it's a double shot of this where I gotta take credit for being right twice in the same segment, is nobody cares about this league outside of her. Look at what happened in the ratings when she checked out.
When she checked out, the ratings went down. But the Fever Liberty game was the most watched game in WNBA history, 20.9 million viewers.
Right. It's her. She is everything. It's not the league. People aren't fired up about, and I'm not trying to be mean to women's basketball, but it's just ridiculous when people talk like Angel Reese this, but nobody cares. Everybody cares about Caitlin Clark. It is the same thing we have seen in all of these other fringe sports, of which one is my favorite sport, which is golf. It's the Tiger Woods effect. It's the same thing. Wayne Gretzky was so popular when he came to play hockey in this country and hockey became so popular, they made the Mighty Ducks movie based on the fact of how hockey rose in popularity. And there's a shelf life for that, and this will be phenomenal for several years, and then people will have seen the act, the spectacle, and eventually it will subside. They better hope she stays healthy, too, because as we saw, even just some
quad strain.
And look at what it did. And this is the insanity of these other players who are trying to get her or hurt her or demean her. She is the golden goose. And it's for some reason, instead of elevating her.
Right, that's helping all of you.
I don't know if it's just, you're just miserable, sorry sacks, or you can't stand the fact that it's her. I don't know. I don't know why everybody wouldn't be just like carrying her out on a, they used to carry the kings and queens, and they'd come out on the not chariots, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why they're not doing that for her.
On a throne?
Yeah, but boy, howdy. It's there is nobody watching these games without her.
Her 3-point distances in that game. Okay, so keep in mind that the 3-point line is at 22 feet. She was at 33 feet, 27, 31, 26, 31, 27, and 26.
Yeah, she's
well beyond.
She's, again, I know I keep using these same people when I describe this, but it is the same thing. She's otherworldly good. She's so much better. And the most important thing is she's so much more entertaining. When you look at a guy like Tiger or Gretzky or Mike Tyson, yes, they were good at what they did, but it was the entertainment that they brought to it. When you watched Wayne Gretzky skate, you knew you were watching a guy who was doing something that no one else in his profession could even come close to matching, and the flair for the dramatic. Tiger Woods, watching the 2008 U.S. Open during the rain delay. I'm like, this is better than the one I'm watching now, and I know how this thing ends.
Right.
The Tiger flair.
There's no suspense in this one.
The dramatic, the Mike Tyson thing. Hey, you better not be in the can when the fight starts, because by the time you get out, the fight might be over, right? That is what Caitlin Clark brings in terms of not only just her quality of play, but the entertaining way in which she does it.
So Nike is reportedly dropping a Caitlin Clark logo in a full clothing line with sneakers this November.
That'll be popular.
Yeah, absolutely. And the clothing line, athletic wear.
Yeah.
People are going to buy a lot of that. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
More details on the capture of the man accused of killing a Minnesota lawmaker. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Superintendent of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, Drew Evans, says that man was captured near Green Isle after being spotted on a trail camera Sunday. Evans believes this suspect likely acted alone, but
we will be exploring if there are any broader network. We have not uncovered any of that at this time, but that will be part of our investigation, and we will fully explore that.
The chase to capture this man was what Evans calls the largest manhunt in Minnesota's history, which included hundreds of detectives and 20 different SWAT teams. Indiana gas at $3.14 a gallon on average today, says Gas Buddy. All staff members who were laid off from the 9/11 healthcare program have been rehired. John Fields, a lead advocate for the victims, and he says there's now a fight to get legislation passed for more money. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
My name's Craig Landers. I'm a union laborer for Local 120, and I'm a member of the Veterans Steering Committee and been retired for 7 years.
For members of the Laborers International Union of North America, giving back is part of their commitment to the Indy community.
I like to help veterans and family downtown. Part of the building burnt down that housed the veterans that lived there. So we donated money to help out. They lost everything they had. I mean, they didn't have much, but they lost what they did have.
When the Indy community needs help, LIUNA steps up.
People bring in clothes and shoes and food. We had a couple car shows and donated the proceeds to the Veteran Suicide Prevention.
This is Chris Brickey, Business Manager of Labor's Local 120. While all our members are skilled, highly trained men and women, we are also your friends, neighbors, Little League coaches, and volunteers here in Indy.
Pretty good to help them guys out. That's a good feeling to help people out.
We build Indy for good jobs and stronger communities. We are LIUNA Local 120.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning. Owner Robert Kirby reminds us to keep our air conditioners and heat pumps clear of debris.
So the outdoor equipment is very important to keep clean. We do have a lot of cottonwood trees here in central Indiana. You know, it's amazing how dirty those things can get in just one season. So it's very important to keep your air conditioner and heat pump cleaned every year.
Need help? No problem. Go to KirbyHeating.com. Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. That's 800-948-1659.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Buying a diamond has changed. There are mined and lab-grown diamonds. Pierce Jewelers carries both. Pierce can educate you and save your hard-earned money. Shop local. Shop smart. Shop Pierce Jewelers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Okay, so somebody's mad that prescription drugs are being advertised on television?
Yeah. Bernie Sanders.
Well, there you go.
He's introduced a new bill. It's called the End Prescription Drug Ads Now Act in the Senate, and it's an advertising ban. The bill would ban direct-to-consumer advertising of prescription drugs on TV, radio, print, and all digital platforms.
Okay, so it is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. That's Casey.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I've got many ways we can go at this. First, I would say that it's a reminder of an opportunity to remind our audience how incredibly broken the entire healthcare system is, and how government interference and rules and regulations and many other things have created a healthcare system that is unaffordable for many people. And so my gut instinct is that any sort of new government intervention into healthcare probably not going to end well, because every other government intervention into healthcare has not ended well. Remember, if you like your plan, you can keep it. Remember, your plan won't go up one single dime. well, I not only lost my plan, but the new one they were going to make me buy was a lot more expensive than the one I had before. So
Really?
It's almost like the government lied to me.
Shocker. Yeah.
It's wild. I think about when I was in my early 20s and I owned my business. Obviously, I was self-insured, and you could get like a really good, I guess they called it high deductible plan. I guess that's what it was called. I don't know. It was a couple $1,000s was the deductible, like where you pay to a certain point and then it takes over.
Right.
And you get it for like, it was like $60 a month, maybe $75. I don't know, it was some like stupid cheap number. It seemed like a lot when you're in your mid-20s. Like, oh, this is so expensive. Then you look at that now. I don't know what that plan would cost today on its own without some sort of employer subsidy or group price rate or whatever. Several $100s probably at least. I don't know. But here's the thing. The drug manufacturers are not in the help you get healthy business. They're in the profit business.
Right. They're in the keep you on our medicine business.
Right. They are a for-profit entity. When people talk about Eli Lilly and et cetera, yes, these companies make a lot of medicines that save a lot of lives, so credit for them. But they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're not giving it away. This is not some eccentric billionaire giving away his fortune to help the poor and the sick and the needy. They're an $800-ish billion market cap corporation, and so these other drug manufacturers are wealthy and rich and powerful beyond people's wildest dreams. So part of what is going on here is they're trying to do everything they can to get you to use their thing or get doctors to use their thing. We hear all the time about how they wine and dine these doctors and these pharmaceutical reps come in and do all these things. And all of this stuff is driving up the cost of the drug. The advertising is a huge part of driving up the cost of the drug.
Pharmaceutical industry reportedly spends $5 billion per year on advertising.
That's utterly ridiculous, because here's how this should work. You don't know anything from an ad. These ads, you see these ads, ask your doctor about the blah, blah, blah. I mean, people must ask their doctor because they spend the money. But you know nothing. Like you, me, whatever. You can research some things on WebMD, but in terms of you need a trained medical professional to evaluate you, figure out what you got, and then come up with a course of a plan. The doctor should be, recommending this stuff. And the idea that we can influence people into medication, I don't know. That's kind of alarming, Casey. Maybe I'm totally out of bounds on that.
So they're arguing that the direct-to-consumer ads, they, like you said, raise the drug costs, and they don't necessarily improve your health outcome. And they're also saying that it leads to increased public spending on medication and promotes unnecessary treatments.
Okay, but
because you're being exposed to these ads and then going into your doctor saying, "Well, I've heard about this medication. Should I get on that?"
Yeah, but okay. So all of that said, so that's like one side of the argument in my head. The other side of it is though, okay, I'm a free person and an adult, and any product I'm going to consume with the advertising, I don't have to consume. If it offends me that much, I can choose not to consume it. It's the same thing about the people that complain about us all the time. You don't have to listen to the radio program. You're free to leave whenever you want. You're not bound. We are not the government. When people get mad at me about going at the politicians, that's what always amazes me. Like somehow I become the bad guy in the equation. And my point is always, these politicians can make you do stuff. I can't make you do anything. You're mad because of what I said on the radio because you choose to listen to it. So I don't think banning something that they're a free company. The media entity, it's just TV this is targeted at, right?
No, TV, radio, newspaper, and digital.
All of them. Okay, all of them then are free companies, public, private, whatever. Well, public in this is like publicly traded or private, whatever. They can choose to take it or not. Everybody's consenting in that relationship, and you, the consumer, are consenting to hear the advertiser. You're consenting to hear the programming. So while I am very upset at the system and how it's made medicine and medical care unaffordable for many people, I don't think banning advertising is the step to make it more affordable.
It does seem like every other commercial is some sort of pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
It's so much. And in 1997, the FDA, they relaxed some of the rules where they didn't have to do the full side effect summary. They could just list some of them and then do a consult with your doctor.
Well, to cover that's
everything.
another part of it. It's like half the ad is just people looking fake happy, and this guy's sprinting to read as many side effects as he possibly can. I've never understood this because there's limits now. What on like tobacco? There's some limits on alcohol. I mean, I'm not in the management of. When I owned a radio station, I had to be aware of all this. I'm not up on it anymore. I don't know if they've been loosened or strengthened or whatever. But to me, it's like you are a free person. You have the ability to choose to consume advertising of something or not. And if free companies want to engage in consensual transactions, then what business is it of mine to say no?
Now, here's a question that I have, and I doubt you'll know the answer, but maybe you can help me. So, my daughter got her big girl job, and part of it is health insurance, right? So I'm trying to get her off of my plan, but I have to prove to the people here that she has health insurance elsewhere.
That's right. Yeah. That's a thing now. It used to be
like, I just want to remove her, and unless this is a major life event like a death or divorce or something like that. But now I just have to prove that she's going to be covered by somebody else to get her off of my plan here.
And I'm sure that's some sort of government regulation. I mean, it has to be, right? They're not doing this. You're trying to make it less expensive for this company, and they're like fighting you on it. They're making it harder for you to make it less expensive on themselves.
Right.
They're not
it's
doing.
Like you have to choose to be covered.
Yeah, and one of the things that's also interesting, and companies are cracking down on this, I'm sure this is the companies in question with the plans, is it used to be like for many companies, both spouses work somewhere that has insurance. Well, it's cheaper because we got 2 kids. I'll just be on your plan. We'll do a family plan.
Right.
Well, now a lot of companies will not allow you to be on your spouse's plan if you work for a company that provides health
offers the thing. And here's the other interesting thing is because we're in that situation, I can either go as a solo person and be covered, or I can choose the family plan. So even though I'm removing her from my plan, it's not going to change my cost at all because I still have to choose the family plan if I want my spouse on it.
Yeah, you got to tell Jim he's on his own. I'm tired of pulling you around, buddy.
I'm carrying the weight.
I'm tired of doing this. And Mama can't do it all anymore.
and then maybe it would be lowered. So the Pope Leo, he was speaking to North America for the first time. His first message to North America, and it happened via a taped video from the Vatican at Rate Field, home of the Chicago White Sox.
My dear friends, it's a pleasure for me to greet all of you gathered together at White Sox Park on this great celebration as a community of faith in the Archdiocese of Chicago. A special greeting to Cardinal Supich, to the auxiliary bishops, to all my friends who are gathered today on this, the Feast of the Most Holy Trinity.
So he was mainly addressing youth, and he talked about anxiety, depression, loneliness, and he also called to people to serve their community. And he concluded with a full infield mass, and the Archbishop called it the Sermon on the Mount.
So wild to Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah.
I like what he did there. It's so wild to hear the Pope speak fluent English.
English, right? And talk to his home base, right? They played the national anthem of the United States and Peru while there.
Because that's where he went, right? Is that why?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was not.
He did a lot of mission work in Peru, spent a lot of time there. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it this afternoon, 3 o'clock. Guy Relford joins us in studio. The latest on Israel, Iran, and the biggest stories in Indy.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Universal Windows Direct, and it is their home improvement season sale. This weather, it's all over the map right now, but one thing you know is it's going to keep getting warmer as the summer rolls along. And right now, with Universal Windows Direct's home improvement season sale, it's the best time to ensure you stay cool, help you stay cool, in your home all summer long. Payments as low, get this, payments as low as $99 a month, or no payments and no interest for an entire year. That's right. Payments as low as $99 a month, or no interest and no payments for an entire year. If you've been thinking about upgrading the windows in your home, now is the time to act. Call today. Some restrictions may apply, so to get all the information and, most importantly, schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation in-home estimate. Call Universal Windows Direct, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574, or check them out on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com, universalwindowsdirect.com.
Summer is here, and it's time to think about cleaning your carpets. But don't even think about renting one of those DIY units at the grocery store. Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $129 and $75 off air duct cleaning. That's the perfect way to refresh your home. Vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet. And please don't do it yourself with DIY, dirt-attracting, carpet-soaking machines. With those machines, there's no possible way to extract all of that dirty water out of the carpet, and it'll probably leave a nice layer of mud under the carpet. At Zero Res, there's a reason they have 4,900 plus 5-star Google reviews. So just call Zero Res with their patented ZR water that cleans with no soaps, no residue, and no harsh chemicals. Just fresher carpets and cleaner air for your family. Call now, mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $129 plus $75 off the air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141 or ZeroResIndy.com.
Home sales are good, just not great. So many homes have been properly marketed or just sitting on the market. Hiring the wrong sales agent will cost you time and money. Hire the expert who maximizes equity and sells fast. That's Mark Dietel. Maybe you want a fast, guaranteed home sale, but you don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert trusted and recommended with the sale of your home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Just pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Luke and Emma in Franklin said, "We found the perfect piece of land and began building our new dream home, but we needed to sell our old place at the right price to fund the dream. We hired the Mark Dietel team and got multiple offers in the first weekend, closed in 25 days, and they negotiated for us to stay while we completed our new place. Selling was stress-free and profitable with Mark Dietel. Call the local Indianapolis agent, trusted and recommended, the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel, 317-755-4232. Get all the details or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark Dietel, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it. Guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
What if the next time you painted your home was the last time you painted your home?
Our Rhino Shield has been on for 8 years.
Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Big stories locally, big moves in Washington. WIBC.com keeps you updated throughout the day with all the news that matters, plus traffic, weather, and more on your phone, your laptop, wherever you are. It's news when you need it.
Just checking my email, Rob. Did we hear back?
Lindsay Eaton, the communications director for the Secretary of State, has not responded to my inquiry.
Okay.
For those of you who missed the program earlier, we discussed my spirited back and forth with the Secretary of State Friday at the Clay County Lincoln Day, in which he offered that he would show proof that he paid the money back to go to India if I showed him my paycheck.
Because what that has to do with it, who knows?
Nobody is sure. I've asked many people, and they're like, what? But I said, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Because this isn't about gotcha. It isn't about trying to make somebody look bad. It's just about we as a taxpayer have the right to know what you're doing in your official capacity. Like, you notice nobody's talking about Hungary now because he came out and said who paid for the trip to Hungary. There's not some deep dive on it. It's not something people won't let go. But he also didn't claim to be cutting economic development deals. He just said he was cutting ag deals. And, of course, Beckwith wouldn't know ag if it hit him between the eyes, which is why Braun's taken. You notice that? Braun took over agriculture. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that. He's been meeting with a lot of different ag people.
Braun is in charge of agriculture. It's pretty clear Micah gave away all of his responsibility. I guess he's still got okra. Ooh. But because he just doesn't want to govern. And so, but the point I would bring back to Diego is they said, here's who paid for the thing. Okay. We can disagree on whether that's a good use of his time. I don't think it is because that's not his job. But I know now you're transparent, but who paid for your trip? We're done. Nobody talks about Hungary now, other than they have an opinion on whether it was good he went or not. The India thing's a much bigger deal because he will not disclose who paid for the trip. That's what taxpayers want to know. Taxpayers want to know who paid for the trip, and if indeed you did pay the money back, show proof that you paid the money back.
So you sent his communications director an email, and you said that you had accepted the offer.
That's right.
And you said, okay, fine, I'm going to reach out to your communications person on Monday.
That's right.
We'll set up a time, and you can exchange receipts.
Yeah, I mean, the wild thing is, if it's all above board, as he's saying, this would all go away. And then like the story about this local merchant or whoever who paid for it, who totally just doesn't want to get caught up in if you're paying for a high-profile government official to do anything, there is a reasonable level of expectation people are going to want to find out about that. Like, this is not the Salvation Army. This is not, hey, you're giving an anonymous donation of $3,000. Let's give so-and-so a big round of applause for their generosity. No, it's a public official. No reasonable person would think if I pay for you to go to a foreign country, the people aren't going to want to know who paid for that and why. It's the most basic levels of transparency. And so it all goes away the moment he produces that check, that it was names the company and produces a check showing that the money was paid back. There is no story.
You also said if he would be providing receipts for the trip so we can confirm the amounts match.
Well, yeah, because while we're trying to put together, it's all over the map. Like, it depends on what sort of flight you take, and it could be as cheap as we had a guy there. It could be a couple $1,000s depending on I don't think anybody thinks he did it on the cheap, but it could be as much as somebody was saying $30,000 for a trip. So I don't think it's unreasonable to say if I paid the money back, just like you would with a business. Here's my receipts. Here's what I reimbursed this person for. Here's the check showing this is what they paid for, and we're all good. Nobody's out to. Diego wants to paint himself, and he does this with all these responses because he always names the Indy Star. He always names the Indy. It's the left-wing media. No, transparency is not a conspiracy. Simply wanting to know who's paying for you to do what in your official capacity as a government public servant is just that. We have the right to know. When you invest in companies that are publicly traded, they have reporting requirements. You have the right to see things. If we're going to make our companies on Wall Street provide financial transparency so people know whether to invest in them, we certainly should be able to say, please just show us the proof that you did this, and then everybody goes on their merry way.
Well, right. It's like when he came out and he said, I paid for it. I reimbursed.
Yeah. How do we know?
That was his answer, just to get the attention off of it. Now let's move on and talk about other stuff.
It becomes a bigger story when you are perceived as being deceitful or not giving the information to the
Yeah,
public.
because it seems like you have something to hide.
Yeah. It's like, again, when I asked, hey, what does Raju do for this money that I provide him as a taxpayer? Well, he's in the business services division.
He checks on the businesses to make sure they're okay.
You're like, no. Like, what does he physically do? Like, I am paid. I physically show up from 9 to noon and broadcast. Like, that. How easy of an answer was that? Like, I do this. You can hear me what I do 3 hours a day. And for some reason, the Secretary of State is just refusing to provide basic levels of transparency. And it's just I don't think he realizes is, like, when he's in that room and he's making that speech at the Clay County Lincoln Day, the amount of people who came up to me after it happened and then after the thing, like, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
What he's not realizing is it's not me, though. It's what the people want. The people want to know these things. If I were to be fired tomorrow, the people would still be demanding the same answers. It doesn't go away. And he would be doing himself and this state such a service and a benefit to just give the information out, and then the story likely goes away if it's all above board.
Well, we will update everybody tomorrow to see if we got a response and when the showing of receipts / paycheck will happen. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for listening today. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text TEAR to 369-369. That's TEAR to 369-369. TEAR to 369-369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Grit, hard work, training, professionalism, and being ready at a moment's notice. That's what we stand for at Fire Dogs Junk Removal, because we were founded by firefighters. When it's time to clear out clutter, big or small, we've got you covered. From old furniture to hot tubs and even entire decks, our team handles it all. Call Fire Dogs Junk Removal today at 1-800-211-DOG or book online at firedogs.com. Fire Dogs Junk Removal, your local team ready to answer the call.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market, just 20 minutes north of Carmel. We're proud to bring you the freshest produce farmed right here in Indiana and across the Midwest. And don't miss our home-style fried chicken, scratch-made bakery, and a deli packed with ready-to-go favorites. Got a sweet tooth? Check out a variety of old-fashioned candies, the kind that brings back sweet memories from your childhood. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about local freshness, friendly faces, and food that feels like home. Wilson Farm Market. That's Wilson Farm Market.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
The Attorney General's Office, reuniting Hoosiers with over $1 million in unclaimed property every week. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov or text Tony Katz to 46220 today.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of their best stamped concrete patio through June 30th. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC Indianapolis.
Coming up,
Indiana Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith.
Today's rain chances.
A record number of Indiana students are aspiring to become teachers.
And unfair and unjust and stupid.
We've carried out a massive operation.
This is the WIBC News at noon.
Federal agents have made an arrest. You've got a cloudy sky, but a clear radar across Indiana. 77 degrees on Monument Circle. 80 is the high today. More on your weather in a moment. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 12 noon. The FBI says their agents took David Finkel into custody this morning on a federal arrest warrant. They didn't release what charges he's facing because they say the investigation is still active. Finkel had served as vice president of the Shelbyville Central Schools Board and was also known for his work with the Strand Theater. A Hoosier political leader is responding to accusations that he could be tied to a convicted felon. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Indiana Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith says he did not know he was sitting next to a convicted felon at an Indiana Pacers game. Beckwith and Secretary of State Diego Morales were seen with Michael Sherfick, a man who served time for bribery and later pleaded guilty to arson and insurance fraud. Sherfick also owns an Indianapolis venue known for hosting drag and kink events. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You might be seeing rain again today.
So today's rain chances are mainly going to be in the Indy area and point south. We've got a 30 to 40% chance of rain today.
Andrew White with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says severe weather is also possible both Wednesday and Thursday this week. Could the future of teacher scholarship programs be in question? Johnette Cruz explains.
A record number of Indiana students are aspiring to become teachers, but they're facing a new hurdle. While the state's Next Generation Hoosier Educators Scholarship Program saw a record of 1,091 applicants this year, which is a 15% increase from last year, the program's funding has been cut in the new state budget. Nearly 300 students still receive scholarships of up to $40,000 for the upcoming academic year. However, the budget reduction from $12 million to $11.4 million raises questions about how many scholarships will be available in the future as the state continues to deal with a teacher shortage. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
An arrest was made on Sunday in the shooting and killing of two Minnesota state lawmakers. Fox's Jeff Manasso reports on how those lawmakers are being remembered.
Minnesota Democratic Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, who were shot and killed this weekend, are being remembered in a growing makeshift memorial outside the state capitol in St. Paul, where flags are at half-staff. This woman who works at the Capitol says Hortman was always kind.
She was a real advocate for Minnesotans, and that's something that we should cherish and support regardless of political affiliation.
Democratic State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were also shot and injured, releasing a statement saying they're lucky to be alive and humbled by the outpouring of love from across the state and the nation. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Losing Game 4 of the NBA Finals was tough for the Indiana Pacers on Friday night, but Pacer head coach Rick Carlisle said Sunday if you're blaming referee Scott Foster for the loss, that's not right.
Scrutiny that's being thrown out there is terrible and unfair and unjust and stupid.
Game 5 between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Pacers is tonight at 8:30 Eastern. Then the series is tied at 2 games apiece. Game 6 Thursday night in Indianapolis. A conflict, a change, and you've heard about the Pacers, but what about the Fever? Those stories and more next on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the latest out of Israel and Iran, the latest on the capture of that Minnesota killer, and the latest on the silliness of no kings. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.